I was talking to you about it. Anyways, okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
All right. Can you be serious? I'm trying to start the video.
Okay, all right, cool.
Okay,
Let's
so
start.
be serious for 1 second. Okay, let's go. Ready? All right, what's up, guys? Well, welcome back to the 4th episode of the Soko Chats Podcast with your host, Ben Soko. And on today's episode, I have one of my best friends. Just one, not the only best friend. She likes to think she's the only best friend, but anyways, okay. She's one of the best friends, and her name's Anna Thomas. I'm not gonna say that.
This is my whole government name. So
yo, it's weird saying her name because I swear we've been like this because I've known her for about how long have I known you for?
Since middle school, actually.
Since like grade 7. Anyways,
yeah.
grade 7 days I've known her, and literally ever since those days I've never called her by her actual name, which is weird.
Yeah, he always calls me bro, so it's just like...
Yeah, we call each other bro. Like, it's weird saying each other's, like, full names now.
That's how you know shit's serious.
Literally.
You your full name.
Yeah, no. Yeah, with other people, you're like, yo, Joe, or like, yo, Bobby, what up? But, like, with Joe, we're just like, yo, bro, like, what are you saying? Like, bro, like, what are you doing, you know?
Facts.
But, yo, this, like, fam, I've been wanting to get her on the podcast for so long. Because, like, as most of you guys know, I'm doing it with Omar. And, you can literally call Omar like my co-host at this point because he's literally been on 3 episodes. If you guys haven't watched those 3 episodes, I'll probably put one of those like cards on YouTube like popping up saying, "Oh, go watch the 2nd episode." Guys, please go watch those other 3 episodes. They were amazing. Omar and I killed it. We talked about so many different things, a lot of value, and so I think you guys will really enjoy it. And so she hit me up and she's like, yo, let's do a podcast. And I'm like, okay, let's do a podcast. And it's been like 4 or 5 weeks since we had that conversation. So she's been loafing, but
Sorry, I've been loafing because I'm in nursing school. So like, I have my own shit going on.
Anyway,
so I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, stop.
And I'm so,
stop.
We'll get into that inner joke later. But anyways, before we get into the actual questions, guys, if you want to follow more of my stuff, if you want to check out my TikTok and all my socials, I'll probably put a link on the screen somewhere. My TikTok is _Soko_. If you want to add me on Snapchat, add me on Instagram, that's Soko.chats. I'll link it all down below. I have no idea what the hell her Instagram tag is. I'm only going to let her say it because it's like Anna.T1526, whatever the hell.
Okay, it's not even like that, but okay.
Listen, I know it's not
he'll put it in the description.
I'll put it out. Guys, you'll see it. Just go check literally all the links will be in the bio. Follow her up, follow me up. And definitely go check out the other content. Other than this wonderful introduction, I think that's it, right?
I mean, you introduced. We can start now.
All right. So, guys, today we have a lot of relationship topics and questions because even leading up to this podcast, I told her, I'm like, yo, like, because literally on a regular, we're always talking about relationship stuff, whether it be like the shit that we've been through or stuff that we see in other people or even like with our friends. It's all usually based around relationships.
Yeah.
And we knew that we want to have a podcast solely just for this because life is all about relationships. It's all about the people that you know, the people you're surrounded by. Mm-hmm. And like, because relationships is not only intimate relationships and intimate partners, but it's your friends. These are all relations that you have and they're all super important, right? And so that's why I felt like this episode was needed because we get to focus on just that and cover a lot of different things. And we're obviously going to mainly cover like romantic relationships and the different dynamics and different situations and all this stuff. We have like a whole list, guys. If you thought Omar and I had a long list of like topics and questions,
insane. It's like 10,000 questions, like easily. Because I think over time, like we were just like, oh my gosh, like we should add this in the podcast or we should add this in the podcast. Because like, for example, like one of our friends or something could be going through something and then like we talk about it and we share our own input and our perspective on it. And then we're just like, oh my God, this would be a great thing to put for the podcast. So in my notes I have literally so I was showing him this, so many like topics to talk about, and half of them are just relationships based on our experiences, based on other people's experiences, and just overall what our perspective is on it. And I think it's great because, you know, like you have, of course, like you and Omar, you know, have been doing the podcast for now, and I just think it's great and it's wonderful. And I think now it's also cool to have like a female perspective as well, along with a male perspective, right? Because it's different for everyone. So
100%.
I definitely think it's a great balance too for a podcast.
No, it's sick. And like, and we were talking like off air. I was telling her how, you know, what most of the opinions and things that Omar and I talk about is all from a male perspective. I mean, like, it's not necessarily wrong to have a male perspective because most of the stuff I'd like to think is right and most of you guys agree with and relate to and all this stuff. But it's nice that now that I have a female perspective, we get to kind of go back and share our different views on whatever issue we're talking about or whatever. Yeah, I guess whatever topic we're talking about. anyways, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so I just saying we jump straight into it.
I mean, sure, yeah, we can do it.
I'll start it off actually, because this is something I wanted to talk about that actually kind of happened recently. So there's this one friend I know, and we're not like too close or anything, but they have a very, let's say, interesting past. I call it damaged, just kind of filled with like a lot of insecurities and a lot of like just a lot of baggage really. And like it happens, we all go through life. You know, you might go through a bad breakup or bad friendship or whatever it is. You might develop certain insecurities, certain trust issues, whatever it may be, right? And so this person I know has all of that, right? And they were really kind of the type to just get their mind off of things by going on different Bumble dates and Tinder dates and just all this stuff, right? Like as people do, they go to dating apps to try and get their mind off things, to just like, you know, sleep with people, go on hookups. And a lot of people do this. Like I'm sure you know some people too. And this is just a way for them to just forget about everything that's happening, because they're just trying to compensate. Just like if you were to drink alcohol or smoke weed, it's all different ways to mask up certain problems if that person is using it for that reason.
Oh, for sure.
And so but anyways, as I was saying, so with all their baggage and all their insecurities, first, you know, like I may have had a conversation or two with them about like, you know, trying to like better yourself and making sure you're just surrounding yourself with the right people, but at the end of the day, there's not really anything I can do to change that. You know, if they want to change, they'll change. But the main problem I have with all of this is like, one, they were using hooking up as a way to mask the way they're feeling, which is never right. It's just, it never is, because it's like you're going down an empty void. Literally, that's like, it's not going to bring true fulfillment. At the end of the day, okay, what happened? You just wasted a body. There's no true love there. And like, yeah, you enjoyed satisfaction for what, 10, 15 minutes?
Oh yeah, that's
if the sex even lasts that long, you know.
If that's even that good.
And like, so it's like at the end of the day, you're really not getting anywhere with that, you know. And sorry, we're gonna say something.
Yeah. So like connecting to that, like I totally agree, because like, with like meaningless. Okay, first of all, my perspective on like meaningless hookups and stuff, like I get it. Like our generation is very much hookup culture, right? Like we have a lot of people, like, you know, just normally meeting each other at parties and whatever, and they hook up, and then that's it. Like, they don't even know each other's name, and they just, like, hook up and whatever, right? But the thing is, like, at the moment, I'm sure, like, it's just, like, yeah, why not? Like, you know, this like, it's all based on physical attraction, of course, right? Because it's, like, you look at that person, you see them, they're attractive, right? So you're just, like, okay, like, I'm gonna hook up with them, cool, whatever, 10, 15 minutes last, okay, great. And then after, like, a while later, like you come to the realization that, okay, maybe, you know what, like, again, this depends on your perspective on how you look at meaningless hookups, but like personally for me, like if I look at like, you know, a hookup or something and I see it and I just look back on it and I'm like, damn, like, was it really worth it? That's the question, right? Because it's like did I look at it as a way that, because I'm an emotionally, like I also get emotionally invested. So I catch feelings easily. Not even gonna lie about that. I do catch feelings easily, and it's destroyed me and backfired on me. But I'm just saying, like, it, like, honestly, like, even, like, for females, even when, like, most of us, when we do hook up, like, we kind of get even more emotionally attached to the guy. But most guys just look at it as just like, oh, it's like a physical act, right? Like, I'm not saying all guys, but most of guys just look at it physically. But for females, like, we have this emotional attachment as well. So then after we have that emotional attachment, it's I'm not saying like, you know, it's only the females that are hurt at the end. No, I'm just saying like it affects us because like we're more emotionally invested and we have more feelings and stuff. So it's just it means more to us, right? But the thing is, like, when you look at hookups and you do all these meaningless like hookups and stuff, eventually you're gonna come to a time where you're gonna be like, was that even worth it? Like did I really just waste a body like that just to like a random person I don't even know, you know? Like, because you are basically, if you actually are like having sex with them, that's considered like the highest form of fucking intimacy, right? Like, yeah. And if you're doing that with a complete stranger, like are you really like, do you really think that that's, you know, like valuable? Like, do you really think like in the long run you will look back into this and you'll be like, okay, like, was that a good experience? You know?
It hits them later on. Like,
exactly.
They come to like, I feel like everybody that goes down the hookup route comes to a point where they're just like, bro, what am I doing with my life? Especially if you're using it to mask certain problems.
Of course,
like
yeah. Like, saying it with that, like, people these days, what they use, alcohol, they use drugs, like all sorts of like substances or anything to just fill that void, because they want they want that like temporary happiness. Same thing goes for hookups too. Like when people hook up with each other, again, you get that release of dopamine in your brain. Same thing goes when you try drugs and stuff. So it's the same like addictive feeling you get. It feels good, of course, like, you know, hooking up with someone, or even like drinking, and like, you know, it's that dopamine release that makes you want it even more. And then, but in reality, like, you kind of have to look at it, and you're kind of like, am I doing this to just fill that void, or am I just actually doing it just to have fun? And, you know, like, you can look at it as an experience, but you can also look at it as like, am I doing this just to make me happy for now, you know? Like, it's all like based on perspective as well, like how you look at it. Because like you said, your friend, like, you know, like, he was just looking at it as like a filling type of void thing, right? But I'm sure like one day he's gonna look back on it, he's gonna be like, damn, was that even worth it?
100%.
You know, because it's like, it's, again, like, even like, for example, like those groups that have like, you know, like people who have like alcohol, like addiction to alcohol or any types of drugs. Yeah. And I'm sure, like, you know, they look back on their moments of when they drank and everything, like, damn, like, I shouldn't have, like, you know, like, done that. It's like a regret, right? And same thing goes for like hookups and stuff. Down the line, you're gonna look back on it, you're gonna be like, damn, was that even worth it?
Yeah, people don't put too much thought into not necessarily the repercussions, because I wouldn't say it's like consequences of their action, but they're not thinking too deeply of like how they're gonna feel about it down the line. You know what I'm saying? They're just going into a thing like, okay, I want this satisfaction, I want to try and mask up whatever I'm feeling, so let me just have sex with this person. And they're not really thinking of anything of it. They're really not. And then down the line, they regret it. And they're like, damn, I wish I would have just saved it for somebody, or kind of just got through my problems like another way, just by doing like healthy ways of maybe meditating, going to therapy, whatever it is, right? As opposed to resorting to all these other things that really don't help you at all. You know what I'm saying?
Also, like, with like having meaningless sex with someone that you don't even know, like, you don't even know their name, you don't even know anything about them, right? It's kind of like you're literally kind of just giving yourself away like that to a complete stranger. Again, it's all how you look at it, right? Because some people just look at it, oh yeah, you're just hooking up. But again, if you're looking at like in a deeper way, a deeper level, you're essentially just giving yourself to someone that you don't even know. And then later on, you're just like, oh shit, like, what did I do, you know? And who knows, like, they could have any sorts of like freaking STD or whatever, and then later on you go to the hospital and you're like, oh nice, I have an STD now. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you don't even know the person, so it's just like it's just all based on physical attraction, right? And again, like, that goes into the topic of when you actually have sex with someone, the energy exchange as well, you know? Yeah,
we'll definitely get into this. Like, I just want to finish like the main point I was trying to make before we got off topic. And so as I was saying, like, with this one friend, like, the thing that was really a problem for me is, obviously, one, they're hooking up with a bunch of random people to try and get over their problems, which was already an issue in itself. But the thing that really kind of grinded my gears was they all of a sudden one day met somebody off Tinder, and, you know, they're just like, oh my god, that this girl is so like is so nice to me, and is actually a proper girl. And they're going into it literally ignoring everything that just happened before that, ignoring all their insecurities, ignoring all their baggage, ignoring literally the way they are, and just lying to themselves and this person, thinking that everything's going to be okay. And they have yet to step away from all of the dating life to even work on themselves or get the help they need. And I can almost guarantee you that once this person breaks into that relationship with that person, shit's gonna hit the fan, because all of a sudden all this baggage is gonna resurface, all their insecurities, and it's not gonna make for a flourishing relationship. So you know, it just, they're coming in with bad foundational elements to a relationship, thinking that they can repair themselves, or thinking they can just put some glue over it with a new partner, when it doesn't work that way. And that's what makes me most frustrated, because they refuse to see that how that could be a problem.
I also think, like, in that, like, for your friend, right? Like, let's just say in his perspective of him going into this new relationship, I think also the reason why, or what's like allowing him to pursue this so-called relationship, is that he likes the feeling that the person gives gives like him, right? Because like of course, like who doesn't like feeling loved in a relationship? Or of course everyone loves like feeling loved. Everyone loves just that like, you know, emotional connection, the physical like attraction as well, of course, right? But the thing is like that person, like your friend, like he kind of needs to realize like, am I actually like, do I actually like this person, or am I just liking the feeling that this person is giving me? Right? Because again, it's not fair for the other person who's willing to put in all this effort, who's willing to do like the extra mile of, you know, being loyal, and like obviously that's a bare minimum, but I'm just saying like doing the extra like caring and like, you know, getting like surprise like trips and stuff, and like planning all these dates and stuff. Is that really fair to that person, knowing that your friend is just going into this because he just likes that like that what's the word, like that feeling he gets from the relationship and not the actual person,
right? Like the feeling of like that intimacy,
yeah,
of like
because
that texting someone,
again, like with your
all the perks to the
exactly
to the relationship.
And like with your friend, like because he's had like a baggage of like, you know, maybe he could have had mental health problems, right? Of course, like mental health is very important. It's something that definitely is like relevant in our society and everything. But I'm just saying, like, especially if he, let's just say, was going through a lot and, you know, had a lot on his plate at that time, like I'm just saying, like, he could be using this relationship as kind of like an escape route to his other problems, kind of like masking all his other problems and be like, let me just, you know, like
that's exactly
have this, yeah, let me just have this relationship as just like the only good thing in my life, because everything's just like crumbles, you know what I mean? Like and it's not fair to the other person, because the other person is like doing the extra mile, you know, doing all these things, thinking that the other person is feeling the exact same way.
And they think that person's like good too, like normal, and has no baggage.
When you meet someone in the beginning, right? Like when you first meet someone, like obviously you're gonna meet like the best version of themselves. You're not gonna meet someone, they're gonna be like, yo, I'm like really depressed, you know, I'm going through a lot of shit, you know, right now. Like you're not gonna meet someone like that. You're gonna meet someone that tells like, okay, they're good things about themselves. They're like, okay, you know, like I'm in school, I work, you know, like they're gonna like kind of like boost themselves up just to show like, yo, like it's kind of like an interview, like when you're basically telling you like the like good things about yourself to the interviewer, you want to impress the interviewer. Same thing goes for a first date. You're gonna say good things about yourself to like impress the person, because you want the person to like you. That's kind of how it is, right, for a first date.
Would you say that's just putting on a facade then?
Well, I mean, again, like I honestly, like I've thought about it, and I honestly think it is kind of like putting a facade, but also like putting a facade is a stretch of a term to say, but I'm just saying like some people can just be like, yeah, like, you know, like I generally just, you know, for example, me, like I'm in nursing school, like I work too, like I could say that too, but I can also say like, oh, in my past, like I've been through a lot and stuff, like, you know, baggage and shit, like that's not really facade. But I'm just saying like for a person to say like all good things about themselves, and like that generally builds a facade, because it's kind of just like, okay, but like what are like the things that you need to work on, or what's the other side of you that you're not saying now, right? Yeah, because again, like no one is gonna immediately, like when you first meet them, no one's gonna be like, yeah, yo, like you know, so and so, like whatever,
yeah, I messed up, you know.
Yeah, like you're not gonna say that, or like you're not gonna be like, yo, I'm actually toxic, you should not, like you should date me. Like I don't think anyone is gonna be like saying those like red flags. And that's why like down the relationship, like after it's the 3-month mark or even the 6-month mark, like then the facade slowly fades away and the person starts acting themselves and showing these type of like behaviors or whatever. Like for example, if they're upset, right, let's just say you guys get into a fight and the other person's upset, and one person wants to talk about the problem, the other person does not want to talk about the problem and ignores the person, like their partner, for hours, on days, and then just not even addressing the problem and acting all petty and stuff, right? Now, here's the thing. In the beginning of the relationship, when you first met each other, I'm sure that other person said, I'm really good at communicating. You know, I'm really, like, I think a good relationship is when both people communicate. But then down the line, when you're 3 or 4 months in and you have, like, a really bad fight, and then you guys have a really bad fight, and one person doesn't communicate, it's the same person that said in the beginning, I'm a really good communicator. But then they're the same person to ignore the other person the whole like day and like not even saying it, like not address the problem at all. So that's why slowly, like the 6-month mark or even like a year in, like the facade type like fades away, and you kind of find out who the person really is. And that's why the question is, or the statement is, wow, like you're way different than I first met you. You know what I mean?
Do you think a person can put on a facade for 3 to 6 months?
I definitely think like,
Because based on what you're saying, that's what it feels like to me. Like that's what
well, like I definitely think like you can, you know, like of course in the first few dates, you know, like show the best version of yourself, of course. But I think like as you get to know the person, they'll slowly open up, you know, because like some people are more shy and some people tend to not like be expressive about themselves. So like slowly it takes some time to like open up, and that's completely fine, you know, like it's okay like to like open up slowly because you're just slowly trusting the person. But I'm just saying like in a way, like in that 3 or 4 month or 5 months, it's just a rough, it's not like all relationships, I'm just saying in general.
Right.
Like usually a certain amount of time you realize certain characteristics that you're like, wow, like I didn't even know, like this person didn't even like, this person wasn't kind of the same when I first met them.
Yeah, that's not what they were showing you in the beginning.
Because in the beginning, obviously, they're not going to be like, yeah, when we fight, I'm going to ignore you the whole day. Okay? Because, like, if someone says that, you're going to be like, okay, like, I don't want to be with you anymore. Like, what the hell? But, again, like, they're going to be like, no, I communicate properly. We'll solve the problem. We'll do this. We'll do that. Great. Fantastic. Okay, but are you actually going to go through with it?
Yeah, because their actions don't match their words.
Yeah, you could say a lot of things, but if your actions are not matching with your words, then it's no fucking point saying it, because it's just no point, you know, like you're kind of just saying the words are just going from one ear and going out the other. It's not really like you're not doing any action. So it's like, you know, like for example, right, I want to be a nurse one day, and I want to, you know, I'm studying hard like in my school and everything, hoping that, you know, one day I become a nurse. But I can say like I want to be a nurse and everything, I want to do this, I want a big house, I want a nice car, everything. I can say all that. But if I'm not willing to put the work in for it, or if I'm not willing to spend those extra nights studying, or, you know, spend those extra nights literally, like, again, studying for nursing school, then I'm not going to get the grades that I want. And then the grades that I want, it's just, I'm going to be, like, a bad student, get behind in school, not graduate. And it's just going to be, like, a domino effect. And I'm not going to reach my goals if I don't put in the action, right? So that's why I say, like, when you actually want to do something, like, you want to also follow through with the actions.
Right.
That's how you're only gonna like achieve that goal, for example.
That's facts. And tying that back to the relationships, you know, if you're gonna say you're gonna do something, then do it.
Yeah, exactly.
If you say you're gonna like be a good communicator, then show it, you know. But I don't know, people, as you said, they want to put on the best version of themselves. They want to trick you into thinking that's the way they're gonna be, and then as soon as all that starts to fade away, their little facade, their little game that they're playing, now it's like, okay, now you just wasted both of our times, you know?
But I also think, like, with that, like, facade, like, fading away thing, I think that if, like, the other person who's, like communicating really well in the relationship and the other partner is not, I think that if that person who's communicating well is patient enough and being like, okay, you know what? Like, we'll work on this together. Or, you know, like, we'll slowly work on this together because I know, you know, like, maybe the person who's not communicating properly, maybe they haven't been in a relationship before, maybe they haven't like actually maybe they don't know how to communicate properly, and that's fine. Some people don't know how to communicate properly, right? It takes time to learn how to communicate, right? But I think like if the other person was patient enough and said like, hey, you know what, I like you enough that I'm gonna stick with you, and I'm going to like slowly we're gonna address the problem, and we're slowly gonna slowly gonna open up and have the other person communicate better, right? Again, it all depends. Like if you just don't want to do anything with the person, you could just easily cut the person out.
Question: when it comes to like you said, like if you're with the person and you're saying, okay, let's work together and communicate with them in order to fix this problem, aren't you at that point? It seems like you're falling for what they could be and not what they actually are, because what they could be is what you're trying to work on in order to get there. And I'm not saying it's rare for people to change, because it's definitely possible. If you want to change, you will change. But from a lot of situations I've seen, people aren't necessarily willing to make that change, and they say like, okay, we'll work on it, and it nothing ever changes or nothing ever gets fixed. And so it's like I get what you're saying, but it's like, I don't know. Like even when you said the whole like communicating part, how like if a person like doesn't know how to communicate properly because they've never been in a relationship, I feel like that could also be an excuse to cover up some of the problems that might happen in the relationship, because now they're saying, oh yeah, but you know this is going to happen because like I told you I can't communicate, and so what do you expect was going to happen?
But here's the thing, like again, for that person who's saying like, oh, I told you I can't communicate because I've never been in a relationship, but like again, from that person's point of view, like you're gonna eventually get into a relationship regardless with this person or the next, right? You're gonna get into a relationship. But my question is, like, you can't always, again, like you said, you can't always use that excuse saying like, oh, I've never been in a relationship before, so I'm sorry, like, I don't know how to communicate properly. No, but if you're willing to communicate properly by addressing things that bother you, sure, then that's slowly stepping into the like pathway of proper communicating, because you're addressing how you feel. But if you're gonna use the excuse constantly, like, oh my gosh, I've never been in a relationship before, so I'm not sure how to do it. It's like going to a job, like, for the first time, right? And like the manager or whatever shows you how to do the job, and you're like, okay, cool, and then you make a mistake, right? And the manager's like, what the heck, like, I just showed you how to do this thing, and the person's like, sorry, I've just never worked here before, so I don't know what I'm doing. But the manager's like, yeah, but like, you know, it's gonna take time for you to like slowly learn, because again, with experience, you learn how to do the job. Same thing goes for relationships. Like you can't just always use the excuse like, oh yeah, like, because I haven't been in a relationship, I don't know anything. No, it's basic. Not even relationships, friendships too. Like, you need some sort of communication with friendships too. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to always be in a relationship. So like with the job example, you can't always tell your manager, oh, sorry, like, I've just never worked here before, so I don't know what I'm doing. Same thing goes to the relationship. You have to be willing to try. You have to be willing to like put your feet in the water, like that metaphor, you know? You like freaking just like if you really care about the person, if you really value that person, you're gonna try. You know, you're definitely going to try if you really like the person and you really see, like, okay, I see a future with them. Okay, so you're going to try. Because, like, if it doesn't work out, okay, that's a different thing. Like, because of circumstances or, you know, like, just someone is moving away or something like that. That's different. But I'm just saying, like, if you're not even willing to try and you're just going to use that excuse, then don't be in a relationship at all. Because it's not fair to the person who's trying so hard, and it's not fair for the person who's putting in the effort, and it's not fair for even the future person. If you're just doing the bare minimum, then, like, I'm sorry, like, this is, like, what makes you special than someone else then? Because everyone can do the bare minimum. Everyone can do the bare minimum,
There's nothing that
right?
differentiates you.
Yeah, like, what is special about you, right? Again, connecting with the interview example. When an interview is hiring someone, they want to make sure that they hire the best person for the job, right? So they're going to make sure that the person that they're hiring knows how to do the job, is capable of doing the job and everything, right? Same thing goes for dating. When you're finding your suitable partner, you're going to be like, okay, like in your head, you're almost kind of like, okay, like, do I see this person with me in the long term? You know what I mean? It kind of has, yeah. So it's, yeah, sure. Sorry.
Oh no, you're good. No, I love it. It's amazing. I want you to keep talking because like you're providing so much value right now. It's crazy. I know everyone's doing this. But like, I just want to circle back to one thing real quick. So you said in a job interview, they're gonna pick the best candidate, right?
Yeah.
Most qualified, has everything there. And if somebody else is lacking a certain component that's crucial to the success of their job, then you're not going to hire that person. So I know earlier you mentioned that if you enter a relationship with somebody that might lack a certain quality, you're going to tell them, okay, let's work on this. But I know just now you said you're gonna pick the person that's most qualified for the position.
Yeah.
So it's like, why even get to the point with somebody where you're like, okay, we'll work on this. Wouldn't you rather just find somebody that's the most qualified and doesn't lack that, so you can build on top of that?
Yeah, I mean, I like that you like phrased it like that, because definitely, like, again, like even let's just say you meet like the most ideal partner, right, for you. Like, even let's just say like you were to meet someone that you're like, okay, like they would be a good fit for me, right? But the question is, that person's not going to be perfect. That person's not going to have everything on your list of what you want in a person, right? Because, again, not everyone's perfect. Everyone has things to work on. Everyone has imperfections and everything. So that just goes with what I was saying. Like, even if you meet your most ideal person and they check off most of the things on your ideal list of what you look for in a person, there's still going to be things that they need to work on. And same goes with you, right? Like, for example, if your ideal person can communicate properly, that's great, good job, like, perfect, right? That you're already on the road to a successful relationship if the person's great at communicating. But my question is, there are still going to be like problems in the relationship, because, again, if the relationship doesn't have any problems, like, let's just say if you don't fight at all in the relationship, then that itself is a problem, because, again, no one is communicating. Especially when you're fighting, it's like one person's communicating a lot and the other person's not, and then that's kind of how it goes, like the fights. But I'm just trying to say, like, even like the overall point I'm trying to say is, even if you meet your most ideal person and you think that this person is qualified for the job, I'm just trying to say, like, there's still things that they definitely have to work on and stuff. But again, it's we're all in the same boat of trying to find that qualified person, that our ideal partner, and that's why you meet a lot of shitty people that you date, and you date and you go through a lot of shitty people to find the one, because if you go through a lot of shitty people, then you kind of can narrow out what you want in your next partner. Because, for example, if you be with someone who just can't communicate properly, you're like, all right, cool, like, let's just end this now, right? It's not gonna work out, whatever. You go with someone else, and that person maybe like cheats on you, like the worst scenario, yeah, cheats on you. Okay, clearly you don't want. I'm sure no one wants to be with the cheater, but I'm just saying, like you go through shitty people to meet your ideal partner. Then when you do meet your ideal partner, you're gonna be like, okay, like, cool, like, it's perfect, it's a good relationship, whatever. But then again, you're gonna you're gonna go through like some problems in the relationship, and it's almost kind of like those two, like, true proper people who are in a good ideal relationship, they have to look at the problem like them versus the problem, and not like versus each other.
100%.
Like, it's a relationship. It takes two people, right? 50-50.
Takes two to tango, baby.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, even if you do find your most ideal partner, you have to go through a lot of shitty people to find the one. And some people are lucky. Some people meet like their ideal partner at such a young age.
Kudos to them, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like, maintaining a relationship for like 10, 11 years before marriage, like, that's amazing. And I always ask people who've had like long-term relationship, I'm like, what is your secret?
What's the key to success, man?
Yeah, and everyone says, literally, good communication. That's it. Like, and like, it's just talk about everything with your partner. That's what every person has said.
That's so true. And it's funny because like I was talking to and I'm gonna call him out right now, my boy Dario, who's in the States. Love the guy. He's practically like my brother. You guys might actually see him on a podcast once I go down to Ohio. But him and his girl actually have their 3-year anniversary coming up.
Good for them.
GG to them. Claps to them. And I think it's like maybe like next week or something, right? And so I was on FaceTime with them, and I'm just like, so like, what's the key? What's the secret?
Yeah.
To lasting this long? Because 3 years is that's a pretty long time, especially at this age when you're like 20.
That's a long time.
That's quite a while. And they're like, bro, we literally talk about literally everything, like everything. And I'm like, bro, like that just solidified the point of the communication is the basis of everything. And I tell you guys this all the time. Once you stop communicating, everything falls apart. That's literally one of the foundational elements. You get rid of communication, the whole building falls down. The whole relationship falls down.
There's no building at the end of that. There's no building.
Any relation involves communication. That's a good rhyme, but it's smart. Any relation involves communication, all right? If there's one thing you're going to take away from this whole podcast, is literally that alone. Communication is the basis of everything. Once that fails, everything solves. But here's the other point too. You can be very communicative with somebody, but if they are not receptive to your communication, or if they're not willing to communicate themselves, that also falls apart. That's what I'm trying to say. And so it's not only just enough to communicate with your partner, but it comes down to also understanding, because your partner can be listening to you, but they're not, no comprende. Tu comprende, like, is it clicking with you, because maybe they'd be like, okay, and they might just say that. Oh my
God, that makes me so angry.
And just move on, and then they do the same thing again, and they,
it's not following up with the action. So
exactly, that's all it comes back to, right?
You're just kind of like, oh yeah, like, babe, like, I'll if that bothers you, I'll stop, and then does the exact same thing 2 days later. Like, okay, then why do we even have this whole fight then? Like, I don't understand. What was the point of that?
Right.
Like, it's. And again, like, it goes again with actions and words, like, and that's why if you have like two proper like ideal people in a relationship, and they really care about the relationship, and they're like, hey, I actually want to be with you, right? I want to like, I want to have this relationship with you, so let's do everything we can to make this relationship work. And to make sure that the relationship works, you're gonna be like, okay, like, babe, if there's anything that I do that like makes you upset or something, like, just let me know, right? And I'll work on it, and I won't do it again. And speaking of this, I've seen a TikTok that was like, based on like this couple. She was talking about her boyfriend, and she was like, one good thing that like me and my boyfriend does, she's like, I think she said like every like few months or something, like her and her boyfriend just like sit down in a nice like FaceTime call, or like even in person, and she's like, we just talk about what what both of us can do to make the relationship better. And honestly, ever since she said that, I'm like, I want that in my future relationship, because like, let's just say like if there was like something that, you know, like my partner found like that upset him or something, right? Like, and I didn't know, because like, again, if you don't communicate to me, like, I just won't know, like, you know. So if, let's just say I did something and it upsets my partner, I would want my partner to tell me that, so I know not to do it, you know, like, because of course, like, why, I don't want to upset my partner or anything, right? So I think it's very healthy for a couple to just sit down, talk about, okay, babe, like, our relationship is going great. What are some things we can work on? And like, when you, like, for example, one person can be like, babe, like, you know, like, I think we should work on, you know, like, just communicating properly. Or like, when we have a fight, I think, you know, we should give each other like maybe a few hours of space, just kind of like rewind and kind of just think about, you know, like, our, like, think about the problem itself, and then come back, communicate in a calmer manner and everything. So I think, like, definitely, like, when I saw that, I was like, I definitely want that in my future relationship, because I think it's great. It's, you're literally just communicating with the person, and you're just like, okay, what can we do to improve on our relationship? And again, it takes two to tango, right? It takes two people in the relationship. So if one person's doing something that upsets the other person, okay, just address it. It's gonna be okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. Again, if you really care about the person and you really want it to work, you're gonna do everything to make it work, you know? It's kind of like school too. Like, if you really care about your grades and you really care about your grades and everything, you're gonna do everything you can. You're gonna study. You're gonna spend the extra nights studying and like literally reviewing every notes, reading the textbook, doing the bare, like, more than the bare minimum to get good grades. Because why? You care about it.
And that's if you like truly want it. Because I feel like a lot of people say they want something. Oh, they want to get good grades. They want to have good communication. They want to have a good relationship. They want all these things, but they don't truly want it. That's what I'm trying to say. You can want something, but you're not willing to put in the work to get there, or to, you know, get those good grades, to have good communication, to fix your shortcomings, to reduce the amount of fighting you and your partner have, whatever it is that you're going through. You have to truly want it. When you truly want it, and just set your ego aside just for 1 second and really look at yourself and take accountability for some of the shit that you're doing that might be damaging the relationship, that is the moment when you can start to identify, where am I going wrong? How can I fix this? And talk to your partner about how you can fix it, and get their help too. So it's like, if you come to your partner and be like, hey babe, you know what? I realize that I tend to storm off every time we fight. And then they might be like, you know what? You're right. And if they admit you're right, and you know that's what you do, you can talk to your partner and be like, hey, like, every time like I storm off, give me some space. And this comes back to what you were saying about, like, figure out
A way that works for both people.
Exactly. But not only that, it's like, figure out, like, what happens when you fight. What are the feelings? Do you feel like you need to run away? Do you feel like you want to talk about it with your partner? Just figure out how you react in certain situations, and that will help you figure out how you can either fix it or get your partner to be more receptive to it. Because once you guys know each other, you guys can play into it. So if your partner needs space, but you want to talk about it, maybe you can come to a middle ground. Maybe you can be like, okay, like, so babe, every time we fight, I'll let you have your 30 minutes of space, but you have to talk about it once you're done. And so coming to an understanding of, like, what works for both of you guys. And once you figure that out, and maybe you don't even know how you react in certain situations, and that's okay. I know even for myself with my ex, like, there were situations where I didn't even know I would act like that until I was in that situation. And most was because she did something that triggered me to do something else, you know? Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't because of that action that they did, right? And so, as I said, you might go into a situation that you don't know how you're going to act, but then once you figure it out, really take some time to yourself to figure out, okay, why am I acting like this? Okay, maybe it's my ego. Maybe I'm just feeling hurt. I don't want to take accountability. And that's okay, guys. It's okay to acknowledge your shortcomings, but what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do so it doesn't happen again? How are you going to get the necessary help? Is that just you sitting with yourself, telling yourself, okay, let's actually fix this? Is that you talking to a friend? Is that you getting your partner to help you? And so the first step to solving any problems is acknowledging you have one. Yeah. And if you can't be open enough to see your problem, then don't be with anybody. And if your partner is telling you that you're doing something wrong, really sit with yourself and see if it makes sense. If it makes sense, you can confirm it with a friend. Talk to a friend and be like, hey, like, is this true? Am I actually, like, is this one of my shortcomings? And if your friend tells you that unbiasedly, then you can fix it, you know? But at the same time, if your partner's accusing you of something that you don't think, you don't like if they're accusing you, saying you have a certain shortcoming and you don't think you have that shortcoming, first sit with yourself and be like, okay, do I have this shortcoming? If you do, okay, cool, you know what to do. If you're not sure, talk to a few people, but not only the people within your circle, because sometimes the people within your immediate circle, they might be biased. I'm not saying everybody, because you can have some very unbiased friends that will just tell you shit straight to your face, and that's the way it should be. Guys, find friends like that. And so if you feel like your friends are a little bit biased, then go talk to maybe someone in your little extended circle, and just be like, hey, honestly, straight up, is this what I do? And if they're like, yeah, you kind of do, then don't argue with them on it. Take their words of advice. Go sit down with yourself. If you need to go cry in a corner and figure it out, go cry in a corner and figure it out. I don't care what you got to do, but fix your shit. Yeah. And then go back into it and tell your partner, you know, I fucked up. I'm taking accountability for this, and then go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with it. I mean, like, yeah, I mean, you just basically said, like, pinpointed everything. Yeah. So it's like, totally, like, I agree. Like, and I like that because, you know, if you do, like, say, like, you know, like, babe, like, again, it all has to also do with ego, right? Like, 100%. A lot of people, like, if you put your ego into, like, a problem or something, you're gonna be like, okay, well, I did nothing. It's all the other person's fault, right? Here's the thing. Like, it's so easy to blame other people and be like, oh my God, you did this, you did this, you did this. But then sometimes you need to, like, sit by yourself at the end of the day, you know, like when you're in bed, before, like, spending hours on TikTok. Not me. But I'm just saying, like, you're gonna, like, literally just think, right? And you're just gonna be like, okay, what am I, like, so I you know, it's great, like, the easy thing, because, you know, like, we as humans, we all have ego, right? Like we all have some sort of ego, right, of ourselves. But, like, if you are constantly blaming the other person for, okay, they did this, but he did this, she did this, right? You're not really, like, thinking about the whole problem in the whole, like, you're looking at one tree in a whole forest. You're not seeing the whole forest, right? So I'm trying to say, like, if you really, like, want to, like, solve the problem, and you want to, like, actually better yourself and, you know, grow as a person, and you want to fix that problem with the person, you have to sit down with yourself and put your ego aside, and you'd be like, what am I doing that's literally, causing the problem? I just said, yeah, like, what am I doing that, you know, like, what am I doing that's maybe like it's because I said this thing that, you know, like, caused it, like, a trigger or something for the other person, and then that kind of led to a cascade of other problems, right? And you need to just kind of think and be like, okay, like you said, right, like, just kind of sit down with yourself. Again, I really think it's a great idea, like, you know, telling your problems to, like, unbiased people as well, because I don't know, like, some female friends of mine, like, of course, like, I love them and everything, but they do give me some advice that's, like, usually on my side.
They tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, I also would like to hear, like, an opinion from, you know, like, sometimes I go to you. An
unbiased person.
Okay, anyways.
An unbiased person.
Anyways, like, I go to you, like, for my problems and stuff, because I want to see, okay, like, Am I the problem, or is he like the problem? You know what I mean? What? Like, and again, like, it's not like blaming the other person or anything. It's just kind of like, what am I doing that's wrong, or what is is his actions really, like, normal? Like, is this how a guy should act, or is this how I should act in a relationship? You know what I mean? And it's great, like, having that sort of outlet where you can just kind of, like, sit down and be like,
I got you, don't worry.
Yeah, okay, anyways, stop. You literally made me lose my train of thought. Thanks.
Don't worry, listen.
Oh my God.
Moral story, you just have to, like, put your ego aside.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is another thing too, like, just, I know you were mentioning before how, like, if you're always blaming your partner for shit, man, your ego's way too high, and you're thinking very selfishly, thinking that you're perfect. And if you're thinking they're the problem, this is what you're doing.
It's that's more what you are the problem. If you're always blaming the person, 99% of the chance you're doing most of the, like, problem, basically.
Yeah, I don't want to say always, but yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, and just, man, these people's egos are way too bruised in order to admit something. Anyways, I think that kind of wraps up that whole thing. You want me to go into something else?
Sure, yeah, I have.
Yeah, bro,
a whole list.
Guys, we have, like, a whole essay full of questions. I think, like, cause I don't know what else we can add to that. It was good though. It was really good. Literally just pick anything. I don't even care. Guys, if you saw this list right now, oh my God.
Yeah, it's like, I'm scrolling.
Yeah, it's like a whole ass research paper, guys.
Okay. Damn, there's so many good. What, are you gonna sing the Olay song?
Wait, what? No, is that like a Jeopardy? Is that Jeopardy? Yo, is that Jeopardy?
I don't know, probably.
Bro, guys, hopefully I'm not messing up. I swear it's Jeopardy. It's like the guys. Someone in the comments below, please like comment like what I was just saying right now. I swear it's a Jeopardy song. Like when they're waiting for somebody to answer. That's like us right now.
Okay, let's go for okay, yeah, because I have an example for this. Let's go for hello.
Like, well, I'm waiting on you.
Okay, let's do like don't let it, or I can't even talk English.
I know.
Don't let other people shut up. Don't let other people stop you from getting what you truly want in life. Okay,
the floor is yours.
Okay, so okay, for the longest time in high school, this is an example to lead into this topic. In high school, I wasn't obviously the smartest. Just because, like, okay, in my defense, in grade 9 of high school, I went to India for, like, in middle of the school year, which I don't even know why my parents allowed that, but literally in the middle of school year, I went to India, and I missed, like, 3 months of school, right? And I was doing work back home, but, like, I missed, like, tests and stuff, so I did, like, fail a few subjects, anyways. But basically, I didn't have, like, the best marks in grade 9 and grade 10, and, basically in grade 10 science, I didn't do that well, and grade 11, so basically, like, when you're picking your grade 11 courses, it's almost that kind of, like, you know, you're kind of getting close to grade 12, and then you're kind of getting close to university too, so it's all, like, what is it called? Guidance counselors will be like, okay, like, you guys, like, pick something, you know, if you want to go into business, pick, like, business related subjects. And then if you want to go into science, pick science related subjects, like, early on, right? So, like, because you need, like, those prerequisites for, like, university and stuff. So basically, like, in grade 10, like, I knew I wanted to do something with science, but, like, obviously I didn't have the marks for it, right? And again, that was my fault because I didn't study hard. I wasn't taking it as seriously as I should. Again, it's high school, but, like, I just wasn't taking it seriously, so it's my fault for the marks. But I honestly had an interest in science. I loved biology. I loved learning about the human body. I loved, you know, like, I loved just, like, that, like, you know, I just loved, like, that whole unit of just learning about the human body. It just always amazed me, right? And basically, when we were picking our grade 11 courses, I went to my guidance counselor, and I asked my guidance counselor...
You're going to expose her name?
No, I'm not.
She actually treated me very nicely, by the way.
Yeah, okay, let's...
Go ahead.
Okay, I don't even want to say that. I'm not going to pull that card. But, okay, so, yeah, what was I saying? So, basically, she's like, oh, what courses do you want to pick for grade 11? And I told her I want to pick biology, right? And she's like, you wanted to pick bio? And I'm like, yeah, like, what's the problem, right? Like, I can take bio, right? Because I was still passing grade 10 science. So she was like, honey, like, I don't think, like, biology would be the best option for you. And I'm like, why? Because, like, you know, like, usually she's just like, you know, whatever. But I was like, why? And she's just like, I just don't think you would get a good mark in this class. So obviously at that time I was like, man, like, she's my guidance counselor, like,
you're discouraged.
I'm like, she's supposed to guide me. That's her freaking job, right? She's supposed to guide students. So maybe she's right. Maybe, you know, like, her thinking that I'm not, like, gonna achieve the highest grade, or I'm not even gonna do well at this course. That's basically what she said. Like, maybe I shouldn't even go into science. Like, I was just thinking that in general, and I was very discouraged because I was just like, this is coming from not even, like, my friends or anything. This is coming from, like, someone that, you know, guides students as her job, you know, like, they tell you what they think is best for you. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's right. Maybe I shouldn't go into science. Then I had a whole, like, I was very, like, sad because I was just like, I really liked this. Like, I really liked it. And, you know, now one of my superiors basically just think I can't do it. So, like, maybe they're right. You know, I was feeding off to her, like, statement. And then I told my best friend at the time, and she's like, yo, don't listen to, like, her, just take it, right? And of course at the time I was like, oh my god, like, what if I do actually fail? Because, like, it's like science, like, it's bio, like, it could be harder, it's more, like, dense material, right? So eventually I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna take it, whatever. If I do fail, I'll take the L, you know, like, I'll just do summer school, right? So I made that risk, and I went back to her and I said, I'll take bio. And she's like, are you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I'm sure, like, I'll take bio, right? Like, okay, like, what is this, you know? So, and then she's like, okay, fine, like, she's like, girl, no, she's like, if you do, like, you know, not do well in this course, you can, like, always drop or something. Like, she was, like, determined that I was not gonna do well. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm still gonna take it. I'm gonna see how I do. So grade 11 rolls around, biology, you know, like I think it was second semester, but biology came around, and you know, I studied, I basically listened in class, I took all the notes and everything, and I ended up getting a really good mark in the class. And I went back the next year.
And that was a big...
Yeah, and I went back next year, and or not the
face.
next year, but I went at the end of the year, and I went back to her, and I'm like, hey, like, do you mind just reading my marks to me, right? And she's like, why? And I'm just like, oh, just like, sorry, I just, you know, like, I just want to make sure I have all the courses, like, all the marks for all my courses. And she's like, yeah, sure, I can read you all my marks. So she was reading, like, from, like, English, all the other courses, and then she finally got to bio. And then she read my bio mark, and I'm like, yeah, that's my mark. And she's like, wow, like, you actually did that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm like, remember you doubted me? And then she's like...
You actually say that?
Well, I mean, like, I said, like, do you remember when you told... Like, I didn't say, do you remember when you doubted me? I said, like, do you remember when you told me, like, I couldn't do well in this course? And then she kind of just was speechless. And then she kind of just didn't say anything. She was just like, well, good job. Like, you know, you did well in this course. And then, like, after that, I was like, yo, I'm just not going to listen to any, I'm, like, of course I'll take criticism. Of course I'll take feedback from superiors, of course. But it's just, like, if your job is to, like... encourage students to do what they love and what they want to do, but you're gonna put them down because you look at their past grades and you're like, you can't do it, you know, you're just gonna do so bad in this course. Are you really doing your job properly? Like, as a guidance counselor, are you really doing your job?
So this is what I was gonna say. I have a couple thoughts, but I'll just start with this one. You know how you're saying, like, oh, like, what's your job then? You know, it should be to uplift students and push students to the next level and succeed and all this stuff, right? So at what point do you say, like, they actually can't do it? You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I don't think she would be necessarily wrong based on your past trajectory to say, okay, if you didn't do well in these classes, you're most likely not going to do well.
Yeah,
in that. So it's like, at what point does it, like,
also,
you know?
but it, again,
because you don't want to tell a student, like, what if they actually couldn't do it?
Yeah,
like,
of course.
You know,
like,
so it's like, what's the balance?
It's
the
like, you
line.
know, I feel like for that, and okay, I feel like if the student, like, itself or himself or herself, whatever, like, if the student themselves know that, like, okay, I have a chance of failing or I have a chance of doing well, but you see the determination in that student that they want to do well and they're gonna put in the work,
okay,
then that's a different
it's
story.
all intention.
But yeah, but if you're gonna be like, oh yeah, just don't take the course at all because, you know, of your past marks, like, I get that, totally, I get that, because she's just like, she, like, was kind of looking out for me. She's like, maybe you shouldn't take this, right? But again, like, I told her, like, okay, well, I'm willing to, like, put in the work, I'm willing to study and stuff. She's like, okay, well, I mean, yeah, I guess you could take it. Like, I was just, obviously I was very discouraged at the time because I was like, oh my god, like, maybe she's right. But I also think from her, like job, like, I think she should have just said, like, of course she should have just said, you know, like, you could have a chance of failing, right? But also you could have a chance of doing well. She could have just, like, said it in, so, like, she's
more biased than unbiased. Like, she didn't present both sides. She's like,
yeah, she kind of just was just like, all right, yeah, you're just gonna, like, not do well.
Because, like, you know, I thought she'd be like, so, like, Miss Thomas, looking,
yeah, she never said
look
that,
at your grade, like, I don't think this would be a program for you, but if you tell me you are determined, if you tell me you have the right intention to put in all the hard work to succeed, then give it a shot.
Yeah, that's different. I'd rather take that.
Which would make sense.
Yeah, of course, because I'd rather take that than like a whole, like, yeah, you're just not going to do well, just don't take it at all.
Yeah, I don't like that approach.
From that, like, moment, and I've also had, like, even in middle school and stuff, like, I've had my French teacher, like, she's told me to take, Henderson? Like, no, middle school.
Oh.
Anyways, in my middle school, I'm not even gonna say her name.
Who was it? Wait, French
I'll tell you after.
Oh, Perry, man, Perry.
Okay, yeah, nice. Just expose her at all.
Oh, she was nice to me.
Okay, yeah, of course, everyone's nice to me.
You're getting a short end of the stick, eh?
Yeah, literally. No, but, like, basically, one time she called me, like, basically, I had my French mark. It's always the French teachers, man. Like, I'm sure there are lovely French teachers out there. It's just the ones that I got.
So wishy-washy.
So shitty.
They're so wishy-washy. Like, it's either they're really good or they're just, like,
so
garbage.
Yeah, literally. The only proper like Spanish or French teacher I've had is Miss Henderson from
Shout
PCI.
out Miss Henderson. I never had her.
I love her. She's
I've
amazing.
heard so many great things. She's
such a gem. I love her. But yeah, so, like, what was I saying? Thanks. Forgot.
But I didn't want to say something else. So, like, it kind of works out, you know?
Go ahead.
It's kind of, in a weird way, it's kind of good that she told you what she told you because it gave you that chip on your shoulder to do well.
Yeah, I agree because
you're just like,
honestly, like
flip the bird now.
It
That's
kind
like,
of it kind
I'm
of
showing
low key
you,
like
you know?
it's just like, you know what,
A
I'm gonna
motivator.
take it now. Like it low key motivated me.
I kind of think that all of us need a little chip on our shoulder when it comes to something, you
But
know?
like again, like I'm not saying like, oh yeah, at the moment I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna take it. Like no, it took me like several convincing that from my friend to like she was convincing me. She's like, you have to take it, and I'm like, okay, but what if I fail? She's like, okay, but you need to like be, if you're willing to do the work, then you'll
You
do
might as well
well.
risk it.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like again, it's just that approach of as a teacher or as like a, you know, a superior, like of how you word things to students, especially
Oh, 100%.
if it's
Your
like
approach, yeah.
also if it's like career picking, like for a freaking like grade 10 or grade 11 student, like who's just I was so unsure of what I was gonna do. I was just like, oh my god, like I don't know, like I do like art, but I also like science, so I don't know like what's like in between, because I was so clueless, like I didn't know, right, like what I wanted to do, like I was just confused. So I knew like I wanted to do something with science, but then and that route, like after grade 12 science, I went to interior designing. And because like again, my marks weren't the best in grade 12. Man, like it's like my marks weren't the best in grade 12, but basically I went into interior designing. I hated it. It was the worst program ever. Like I just found it so boring. And then finally like I like went to a different program. It's called pre-health science. And then I did really well in that one. And then I applied to nursing.
And now you're becoming a nurse, man.
Yeah, nursing was my initial goal, but nursing, it's just very competitive. It's very hard.
Yeah.
To like, you need good marks for it.
Of course, yeah.
So like, honestly, like I'm happy to say like I.
Bro,
made
look
it.
at your journey. How fucked is that? Just like
It's-
looking back at it.
Yeah,
Like I know
it's-
now it's like, oh, you know, you're struggling in nursing, but like look how far you've come. Like truly, guys. When I
Yeah.
tell you she's like the most hardworking like academic
Oh,
person I know, I'm telling you she actually is. Like
Oh,
ever
man,
since,
the gas
literally
is
ever
coming.
since like grade 9. This girl would cry at all the shit she had to do, all the stress at night, trying to get all these good marks, put in all the hard work. Even when she was putting in the hard work, she wouldn't always get the best marks. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm like, how is that possible? How do you like put in all the hard work and not get good marks? But she was struggling, man. Like she was.
I know,
but you
for sure.
deserve
Like
it.
because here's the thing. Like there are actually, because people could be like in grade 9 and grade 10, like okay, like I wasn't putting the effort, right? But in grade 11 and grade 12, I actually wanted to do well in school and stuff. So I put in the work. I would spend nights studying. I would literally, and every time I would do bad on a test, like I would like that shit like destroyed my mental health. Because I remember like grade 12 and grade 11 one time I was studying for a math test. The day before on my dining table, I just started crying, and then my brother, I love him. I love both my brothers. I'm like, in case you know, like, but yeah, I love both of them. So my brother's just like, "Yo, are you good?" And I'm like, "I'm not. Like, math is just so hard," and I hated math. I still hate math to this day. It's just so like hard. But yeah, anyways, like. It's just I took school so seriously at the point, and I wasn't like a student that always like got like the best marks. Even when I did put in the work, I did like study a lot. I would.
And you put in a lot of work.
I have like a
lot of
mark
work.
on my finger for like writing so much. It's like this like cyst thing.
Yo,
I
battle
told you.
scars, man. Battle scars.
But like and eventually after college and stuff, I found still in college, but I found like my study techniques and what worked for me, and then I just implemented those study techniques.
The good thing is that like
yeah.
your hard work was there, your work ethic, like because you're so motivated and so interested in school and pursuing that next level of education. And once you eventually found nursing, it only drove you even more to succeed in that, you know, because you have your work ethic mixed in with all the learning habits and like studying habits that you have now, which I actually want you to go over, because I remember how I told you I want you to mention this on the podcast, because she actually has like a few good like good ways of like studying and learning.
Yeah.
And so like I definitely want you to mention that for like anybody that's like
for sure, yeah,
coming up and like wants like possible study habits.
For sure, yeah.
But guys, the work ethic needs to be there, like with anything you do, but especially for school, especially if you want to take it to the next level, bro, that shit's not easy depending on what you want to do. You're gonna have to put in the work, you have to put in the blood, sweat, and tears to get what you want and progressing your career in that direction.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like it was there. And so mix your hard work ethic with like good study skills and all of this shit, and that will push you. And just think of your vision, think of your long-term vision, think of what am I going to get at the end? I'm going to get a job that I like doing. I'm going to be helping people if it's in a career where you're helping. I mean, all careers revolve around people, so you're going to be helping anybody regardless. But as long as it's like a job you want to do and it's going to pay you well enough to be happy, then you're set. So just keep that at the back of your mind, keep grinding. And as I said, guys, it doesn't have to be academically speaking, because her and I are the opposite when it comes to school. She like more or less, quote unquote, loves school.
I don't love school, but
Okay, yo, pause that. Yeah, my freaking camera died. We'll resume this.
nice.
Give me a
But
second. This is dead. All right, let's go.
I was connecting.
No, what I was saying actually.
Okay, yeah.
Before you rudely interrupted me.
Sorry.
My friend. No, I was just saying the difference. Like with her, okay, I'm not gonna say love school. Maybe love is a little exaggeration, but you're interested in school in the sense of like that's what you want to pursue. You're going down the academic route, which is what I'm trying to say, and you're actually willing to put in the work. Guys, don't think that like you got to go down that route. You can also put in the work in other sense because people, you could easily look at me or anybody who's hardworking academically speaking might look at someone like me who didn't really like school and be like, okay, he's a lazy piece of shit. Because like, guys, I truly don't want to put in the work. Like, it's not that I don't possess the capabilities to get good marks because I know I can. And like, I'm really not trying to sound egotistical right now, but I can get all 90s if I wanted to. I can. I just have to put in the work. It all comes down to putting the work, guys.
Honestly, anyone can get 90s if they really put in the work.
You see
Like,
what I'm saying?
no one in this world. Okay.
You might need some assistance depending on who you are.
Of course, yeah, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, if anyone is like, it doesn't matter. Like, if anyone's just willing to put in the work, you can easily get 90s.
100%. So
like, it's not just like, oh yeah, like genetics or some people are just born smart. No one is born stupid. Like, it's you naturally just have to have like that motivation and that like willingness to succeed. That you're just like, okay, I'm gonna. You're like, you're kind of manifesting this for yourself. But if you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna get like a 90 on this exam. Okay, so you're gonna work for it. Yeah. You're gonna study. You're gonna watch the, like, for example, in college, like, you're gonna watch the lectures. You're gonna make notes. You're gonna test yourself. Do all of this, and then eventually the day before the test, you're just like, all right, I got it. Like, you're confident in yourself that you know your shit.
Literally, if there's a will, there's a way, and that saying is so true.
Yeah.
Like, if you want it to happen, you're gonna make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And just to clarify what you were saying is like, if you look like us, you talk like us, and you can function like us, you can get 90. That's all I'm trying to say. You know what I'm saying? And so, guys, you all have the capabilities to do it, you know? Or even later on in life, sorry to interrupt Trib again. But and I was thinking that doesn't just have to be with school. It can be with like if you're in the workforce, put in the work in order to try and progress yourself to get that promotion or to work harder to get the extra hours, to impress people, to find a new job. You just have to put in the work to progress yourself in the right direction, to up your status, to up your income, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? And I gotta wrap up this point I'm trying to make here. Is that you can be a hard worker academically, or you can be a hard worker not academically speaking. Like myself, as I said, I didn't really like school. I didn't want to put in the work, so obviously I didn't get the best marks, and I really don't care to get good marks because what I want to do has nothing to do with academics. Because as some of you may or may not know, I'm a music engineer, so I'm working on building my client base, working on music, and I have this wonderful content creation stuff that you guys are looking at right now. So hopefully I can monetize all these avenues, and because this is my passion, I want to provide you guys as much value as possible. And I want to be able to like make a living doing this and not be so sick, other than my music stuff, of course. And I'm hardworking in that sense. I do shit every day to progress myself in that right direction, you know? And so we work hard different ways. She works hard academically to finish her nursing shit. I work hard in the content creation and music and all this shit. And so there's different avenues in which you can work hard. Just because you don't work hard in one thing doesn't mean you're not going to work hard in something else, you know?
Yeah.
And so don't let people say, oh, you're so lazy because they're hard working at one particular thing and you're not. Because you might be good at something else and they're not.
Also, that goes to say, like, I know this common notion. I know Gary Vee. He can
love Gary Vee.
I know.
Biggest inspiration. Shout out to this guy because he's one of the reasons why I started content.
Like speaking of that, like, honestly, like, there's this general notion of like, okay, yeah, the like ideal thing is going to school, you know, graduating, getting a degree, and then getting a job, and then, you know, like getting your house or whatever, and then getting married. Like, that's like the like ideal kind of like life that people just think about, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, there are also many successful people who haven't, like, you know, like gone or who haven't went to university or who haven't, you know, like actually went the academic route. So I'm not saying like, oh yeah, like completely drop out and just not do anything in life. No, I'm just saying there's also like school is not always like, yeah, you know, if you go to like university or college or whatever, get your degree, diploma, whatever, you're gonna get a job. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like there are many routes where you can go either through university academically or non-academically, right? There's many ways to succeed. It's not just getting a freaking degree, paying thousands of dollars of debt you're gonna be in, and like getting a degree at the end of the day. No, like there's many things of where you can succeed in life. You could start your own business. You could start, like your own, essentially your own company, like you're you're starting,
it's how
right?
you go. It's how you go down the business route, or you go down getting a job
exactly.
route.
And academically, of like that way route as well. But again, it's that notion, that stereotype that is just like, oh yeah, if you go to school, you're gonna get a job, you're gonna do this. No, I know many people who went into school and like got a degree and stuff, and they still haven't gotten a job. And I'm not saying like, oh yeah, that's just depending on like, whatever their program and stuff, but I'm just saying like school is always not like, yeah, you have to go, like you have, like I guess some traditional parents are just like, okay, you have to go to school and stuff,
that's all they know.
because that's how they've been like raised, like because maybe back home, or even like their parents raised them up in a way that you have to go to school, you have to do this, you have to do this. But those same type of parents are also like reliving their dream into the kids' like future.
Yeah, they want their kids to live out their dream.
Exactly. So they're just like, like for example, if like a parent wanted to be a doctor but never got a chance to, they're gonna encourage their kid to be like, you need to go to medical school. But the kid could have an interest in business or something, and the kid's like mom, dad, like I don't know, like I don't want to, like I don't want to go into med school. But again, it's that pressure, right? It's because how the parents were raised at a younger age, because they've been pressured by their parents, like you need to go to school, you need to do this, you need to do that. Then you kind of pass that on to the next generation, and you're just like, okay, you need to go. But again, like I think like our generation, the one good thing about it is just because there's so many like ways through social media to get a job. Like there's so many different routes of getting a job, whether you can go to school or not. And I think it's great because now we have so many platforms of getting a job and stuff. We could tell our kids that, what, honey, like Bob or freaking Lily or something, I don't know, like whoever you have as a child, like just tell them, you can go to school if you want to. Like, I'll support you. If you really love your kid, you're going to support them for whatever they want, they want to do. So, of course, like, again, like, that's also, like, you can't really blame the parents for, like, kind of forcing you to go into school and stuff. It's because of their upbringing as well. And, sorry, this is also, I don't want to, like, forget this idea, but basically connecting with what you were saying, how, like, about like the motivation and stuff with school and stuff and like studying and stuff that I have, I always think to the like whenever I always feel discouraged, or whenever I always feel like, why did I even join nursing, or why did I even like start this program, like I feel discouraged, like I'm not motivated. What I always think is the day that I graduate, when I walk across that stage and I get my degree or diploma, right? I think of that moment, and I know that moment I'm gonna look back. I'm going to be like, of all the nights that I actually spend time studying, my blood, sweat, and tears, like all these notes that I've taken, all the friggin' mark on my finger, and like all these things that I worked so hard for, I'm going to look back at that moment. I'm going to be proud of myself and be like, listen, I made it here. And honors or not, I made it here, and I'm going to walk across that stage, get my degree, and officially become a nurse. And I think of that moment whenever I feel discouraged. I always think of that, and I'm like, okay, you know what? That's why I'm here. That's why I'm pursuing my program. That's why I want to put in the work. That's why I want to study, spend extra nights, like studying and like, like just literally doing anything I can, because that's kind of what's bringing me, like motivating me. Same thing goes for you as well. Like even obviously in a non-academically like way and everything, right? Like you have that like vision of having your own company, having your own like future that you plan, and that's gonna motivate you, right? Like
Facts.
To do better. So that's why some days you may be like, yo, I'm kind of tired of like whatever, I don't feel like doing it, I'm kind of lazy today. Yeah, it's okay like to have like some off days here and there, but you need to also remind yourself the initial thought of, okay, why am I doing this? Like what motivated me in the first place to pursue this? Don't
lose the vision.
Exactly. You need to always, I think there's a sign here, but yeah, I don't even know. I forgot what it said. But
what? Dreams to reality.
Yeah.
It's
Speaking
true,
of that, it's true. Like you need to
dreams
always
is your vision. That's your dream. You have
to always have like a vision. Yeah, because again, you can always wake up every morning and be like, okay, what's the point of life? Like why am I waking up this morning? Why? Like what's the point, right? Like some people wake up, right? Like there are people out there that will just wake up and they're like, man, I just have to do another day, like just get through this day. And yeah, of course, like we all have bad days and shitty days ahead. Like it is what it is. It's life. But I'm just saying, you also want to be like, okay, what brings me out of bed this morning? Okay, what, like for me, when I had like classes and stuff, I just finished all my like second semester stuff like this week. So I look back and then I'm just like, okay, like, what do I have to do today? I have to do this, do this, do this. Okay, I'm like, I need to get out of bed now to get those things done. Why? Because my end goal to become a nurse. So I need to put in the work now. I know, like, at that time, I'm gonna be in a better place, and I'm gonna be like, all those times that I suffered, it's all worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that drives you. It gives your life purpose. Because career is one of the aspects that give your life fulfillment other than your close relationships. And so
Exactly.
if you're working towards something, and listen, for some of y'all that are like still in your 20s and I want to like have fun and mess around and you really aren't goal oriented, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. It's not.
Yeah, no.
Because in your 20s, people always say enjoy it and all this stuff, and you should enjoy it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But I was saying there's a couple routes you can go down the route of just like, as I said, having fun, not really having that thing you're working towards, which is fine, and you can kind of get back to it later. Or you can be more like us, where you're just more career oriented. So you're doing something every day to progress yourself and get you one step closer to your final dream, your final vision, or whatever it is, right? Both are completely fine, but decide what's for you. Because even for me, up until I want to say even early, probably like beginning of this year, I was kind of in that state where like I wasn't sure, like I was serious about videography and I was doing like music videos and stuff because I started off as a videographer too. So I kind of have, that's kind of like the third component to like my business. So I started doing that, and I was getting projects here and there, but I wasn't really in the waking up every day doing something to progress myself there until I actually started TikTok. So not even beginning of this year. So let's take it back to 2020 of October when I started this journey, and actually posting content on TikTok and now doing the podcast. Like that gave me another reason to actually get up and get going, because for me, music is not enough. For me, videography is not enough. I've always wanted to do something like this, and I found it. And so now I'm working on this, or I'm working on music, doing something every day, whether it be posting 2 videos a day, doing a podcast, anything to get myself there. And with you, I know it's the studies, prepping, studying, all this stuff, because I mean, you took in all the semesters throughout this year, And
yeah,
so
I started in January.
Yeah, you got to be on the grind,
Yeah.
And so, guys, you can go down our route, do your thing, or have fun, let loose, chill with your friends. Because that was me a couple years ago, so there's nothing wrong.
Like, also speaking on that, like, I want to say, like, if you do go and if you're also like a career oriented person, you want to like, like you have a future plan for yourself and everything. I also like want to address the importance of consistency. Like, you also want to be consistent with the like work you're putting towards your future, right? So like, for example, like take it in as if you're like working out, right? If you work out like maybe like once a month or something, you're not gonna see progress. But if you work out every week, maybe like 3 or 4 times a week, whether it be focused on legs or arms, like both should be like, fair amount.
I mean, you don't have to do 3 to 4 times, but at least
but I'm just saying like a consistent amount that you see progress in the long term. So same thing goes for like, when you're like planning for your future and you're studying, or you're doing other things that like build your future. You're kind of like, you have to be consistent, because again, consistency, it takes hard work, right? No one wants to like wake up early in the morning, like to just start like, working. Like everyone's kind of like, relax and everything. Of course, like take time for yourself, like, of course, like relax, but also be consistent with your work. If you want to see progress, you have to be consistent. Facts. You need to like actually be like willing to put in the work for like this much amount of time to see progress from the long run. Same thing goes for working out. Like you have to be like consistent, and then you'll see results like at the end, like few months, or it takes like a lot of time to see like results, but definitely those results will be there.
Patience.
Why? Because you've been consistent, you've been patient, you're willing to put in the work, and ultimately it goes back to, it's because you really care about your future, you really care about
craft,
this relationship.
Whatever it is,
it's whatever you care about and you're willing to put out, you're gonna work hard for it and be consistent, because you want to see change, you want to see like that goal being accomplished,
being fulfilled. And like another thing I want to add on to that, and I've said this before in the other podcasts, where staying consistent is very important. But to some of y'all, like, I don't want you to take that as like, yes, you can be consistent, but if there's a day where you need a break to kind of just chill and reset, because we all need that. Like, it's hard to grind.
Sure,
It's hard to grind every single day. It really is. And so one thing I always say is like, be empathetic and be easy on yourself in the sense of like, it's okay to take breaks every now and then and not do anything for that day, or maybe even 2 days. Like, let's say it's like a weekend, right? You just don't do anything. Don't judge yourself too hard. All that matters is that once your break is over, that you get right back into it. Because what many people do is that they'll take that break and they'll just extend that
like
break
slack
and just
off
never
slowly.
get back into it. And so take your break to reset, but then jump right back into it, go back into your routine, and
For
just
sure.
and go crazy, you know? So
Yeah, like for sure, like having a break for yourself is very important because for your own mental health, you need a break. You know, you can't obviously always like you know, you can't obviously like just be on one thing for like a long amount of time. You need to have a break. You kind of need your brain to like rewind because your brain will only work with the significant amount of rest. You know, that's why they're just like you need 8 hours of sleep, which I need to follow because I don't even get 8 hours. But I'm just saying, like, you need the amount of rest. You need to be in a good place mentally to actually, like, you know, think, like, basically you need to be in a good place mentally to actually, you know, okay, like, you want to accomplish certain things, okay, let me be in a good place, let me actually take the time to like relax for a bit and then get back on my grind, like that, you know, like I think it's very important to have that balance too. Of course, be consistent, but also have that break for yourself where, you know, you're just trying to like do something that you love,
work life balance.
For example, like go out with your friends, have some fun, like, you know, like, of course do that, of course, like it's your life, you know, life's short. Yeah, but also be like valuing your future as well, you know, at the side.
And you can do both. Like I know, like even for us, like I'll usually chill people, like especially every Fridays. I've been chilling with the boys every Friday, and it's like Friday evening is like when I do, like last night, like today's the time we're recording this, it's Saturday, and so last night I was just like chilling with the boys, had a couple drinks, and we just relaxed. You know, you can do it while you're grinding, because look, you just work on your shit during the day. And then in the evening, after 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., you can see somebody, right? It doesn't have to be every night, but you can do both. And that kind of gives you a small little reset until you get back into it.
Yeah,
but
you have like 24 hours of the day. Like minus the sleeping time. But you know what I mean? Like you have a lot of time of the day to accomplish certain things. And to actually like make sure you get shit done, time management, you know? Like you want to plan out your day. You want to be like, okay, maybe like, because for example, for me, like for nursing, again, sorry to bring it up, but it's just like there was so many so much stuff that I had to get done, right? And it was such little time. Like it's very stressful because the profs would be just like giving us assignments, test after test after test. Like there's no break after that. So what I would do is I would try to time manage my time, and I would like create a schedule or like a plan, and I would like write a list before the day even starts. Like in the morning when I'm eating my breakfast, I would just write, okay, do nursing theory today, do anatomy, do patho. Like I'll just have certain things on my list, and I'll be like, I need to get this done today, or I'll maximum get it done tomorrow as well if I don't finish today. But because of that, it has helped me stay on top of my shit. And like also, like, you know, if I go out to see my friends too, of course, like I add that to my schedule, right? Because you make time for things you care about, right? So you make time for your, like for me, in my case, for my schoolwork, but I care about my friends too. So obviously I go and see them too, right? So anyways,
Stop.
Yeah, so you just kind of like plan your day out throughout, and like if you have great time, and it takes skill to have good time management skills, because again, like it takes a lot of like courage and you know, dedication to actually be like, okay, like I need to actually get this stuff done, you know. Again, procrastination and distractions of like TikTok and like all this is around you, but you need to have the willingness to be like, okay, and the discipline to be like, okay, I need to put my shit away and need to focus now and get this done, and then I can just go and have fun with my friends and then come back.
It's not easy.
It's not easy at all. No, it takes a lot of willpower actually. But you know what? At the end of the day, or even at the end of the week, maybe a couple weeks after, and you do get like results from it, you're gonna be like, actually, I'm actually happy that I, you know, like made that list for myself. I'm happy that I did accomplish that much that day, and I want to accomplish more. It's kind of like your previous like accomplishments like motivate you to accomplish even more goals in life, you know, because it's a great feeling when you accomplish something you worked very hard for. So an example for me, like when I get a really good mark on a test, I'm just like, wow, like this feels amazing. Like I'm so happy because I worked hard for it, and I this is like my ultimate goal, right? And accomplishing that, it makes me want to do better on a next test. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna, you know, again, study, do the same thing to get that same result, and
the results show, guys.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I know in the moment it might be so easy to like hop on the social media and waste your time, because it's just like, oh, let me just distract myself. But I said, once you find that purpose and working towards your career or whatever it is, then once you just put in the time and actually like make time for those things, the results will show. For sure. You know, whether you want to become a nurse, you'll see. You're going to go through the system. You're going to finish these 2 years. You're going to time manage, get good marks. You're going to become a nurse. You're going to earn whatever, $65,000, $70,000. Bingo, bango, bongo. You're having your own place. And so
that's the goal.
Preserving that vision, you know? Yeah. And so it's like, guys, the results will show, you know,
for sure,
when you time manage and put in that time. And I don't think, we totally forgot to mention this, but before we move on, what were some of your study habits? Because I know, like, I mentioned that before, and like before we move on from the whole like studying and stuff like that, I know you were telling me this a couple days ago about like some of the ways you study. So guys, one is work ethic in order to like get what you want and get marks, but give them some of your studying secrets.
So like,
what do you do?
Again, okay, like it really, I'm just saying it depends on what program you're in and everything, right? But general study habits, what I do, like for me, it depends on what course it is, because I have different study techniques for different courses, just how it's designed and stuff. But basically, like how I generally study is, like I watch the lectures that my profs post and everything. Again, they're so long, they're 2 hours long, and I'm just like, I don't even know how I'm going to sit through this. But I eventually make it through the 2 hours. And then what I do is I take notes from what my prof says in that lecture. Then if there's a textbook provided for that course, I will go to the textbook. I'll make notes on like I'll read, for example, like, okay, for my program, if it's something about the human body, right? There's a lecture that for example, about like the heart, like cardiovascular system, right? There's a lecture about the cardiovascular system. It's 1.5 hours long. Okay, I'm going to watch that. Make notes on that lecture. Then what I'll do is I'll go on the textbook. I'll go on that topic itself. I'll make notes on that topic from the textbook. So now I have my prof's notes and I have my textbook notes. Then I combine both together. Then what I do is after I combine everything together, then I have like literally all my notes. So then what I do is I just read it, like write it again, make sure I understand the thing. The thing about like a lot of people find, like I think a lot of people, the reason why that they don't like get the better marks than they think they did, or they like could get, is that they tend to memorize a lot of stuff, right? Memorizing a lot of stuff versus understanding it is two different things, because you can memorize a shit ton of things in your head, right? But then on the day of the test, you're just like, okay, now your brain is like a computer. You're looking through all the files. You're like, okay, which one? Like I tried to memorize, unless you have like a photographic memory, then you're Gucci. But like I'm just saying,
that's a good analogy.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So I'm just saying, like what I would do is, so like I obviously don't have a photographic memory. I wish. Like I have a memory of a fish. It's so bad. But yeah, so like what I do was basically I combine both my profs and my textbook notes, and then after I read everything and I think that I understand it, I take a blank piece of paper. I put all my notes away, and then I just write, like for example, how does the heart pump the blood, or like which way, like just systems of the heart, right? I'll just write the subheading, and then I would just write what I understand happens in that system. Then like without looking at my notes, then I would go back to my notes and see if I missed anything. So I kind of go back to what I wrote without looking at my notes, and what I did write with like my prof's notes and everything. And then literally at the end, I'll just keep redoing this to make sure that I actually understand it. Then what I do, I know it's a lot. Sorry, like it's
no, go on.
But
no,
what I do is I go to someone that's not in my program and like doesn't know like basically much about like the things I'm studying. Basically, what I do is I explain them like the topic that I'm studying. If you can explain something to someone, it can really show you understand it. Because if that person doesn't know, like for example, if I explain to you about like a system of the body, right?
I already know that.
And anyways, if I explain, let's just say if I were to explain something to you right now and you weren't aware about it, and then after I explain it to him and he actually has a good understanding, it means that I understand the topic as well. So if you can explain something to someone who has no idea what the topic is and then they understand it, then you're good. You understand the topic.
That's why tutoring is like crazy. When you tutor people,
oh yeah, for sure.
That means you just know your
tutoring
thing.
Is just when people ask you questions on the spot, you're just like, oh, okay, that's how you do it, and then that shows you understand it. So that's the trick. If you can explain something to someone that like they have no idea about, and then they understand it after you explain it to them, you're good. Then that means you understand the content. So that's what I do. And I bought like a whiteboard for myself, so I pretend to be like a little prof. So basically, like I teach my furniture, because in my room, like
she's so proper about
it. I basically write all like I pretend like I'm teaching, right? So I pretend like I'm the prof, and I write the lecture like notes, and I'm like, okay, so I'm going to explain about like whatever, right? And I talk verbally so I can hear myself. And then after that, maybe like a day before the test, I feel confident. I'm like, I know my shit. I've been studying for this, and mind you, all this process takes weeks before the actual test. I try not to study days before the test. This semester was kind of different because it was a very difficult semester. But I'm just saying overall in general, I try to implement these actions like weeks before a test. So the day before a test, I'm good. Like I just kind of like go over it once and I'm like, I already know my shit. I know it. But because, you know, I've already like done this weeks before. I'm not like last minute studying and being like, oh my God, I don't know what this. If you last minute study, I'm sorry, like it's just a very, like, some people actually do really well, like get like 90s and stuff last minute studying. For me, it just doesn't work because my brain just can't hold that much so much information in such short amount of time. So what I do is I basically, like, again, time manage. I look at my schedule. Okay, what days can I study for this test? Okay, and then I implement all these things the day before a test. And then I'm basically good, like the day before my test. And here's one thing that my prof said last year. It's always stuck to me. So he told me that in order to do well in any course, doesn't matter which course, if you study way beforehand, like if you like review the content, go over the lecture notes and everything way beforehand, and you study weeks before, you ask questions to the prof, you basically just know your shit the day before the test. He's like, what he does is he studies weeks before, and then the day before a test, he just watches a movie. He's like, I know my shit.
How slick is that?
He's like, I watch a movie, I just relax.
That's some badass shit right there.
Yeah, well, everyone else is like, oh my God, what is on the tomorrow's test and everything. He's like, I already studied for my shit, so I'm good. And that, ever since he said that, that's always stick to me. Like, and I've used that in first semester of nursing, and honestly, it made me do really well in nursing. Like, first semester. Second semester was a different story. It was just a different, like, a lot of things were going on at that time.
Doesn't matter. The habits are still there.
Yeah,
studying habits rather.
Still did pretty well, but it's just like not as well as I thought it would be. But again, this gives me motivation to do better in next semester. So again, you know, it's just overall, like, even if you do bad or if you don't do as well as you thought, it gives you motivation.
Did you talk about your open book strategies?
Yes. So for open book strategy, basically what I did, or what I learned this like literally like last week.
Guys, this is so smart. Listen to this.
What I did was basically 2 of my courses were open book tests. So we were allowed to use our notes. And you would think, okay, if you're allowed to use your notes, you're basically good, right?
Right.
No. Because listen, even if it's open, okay, I don't know about other other programs and stuff, but my like profs, like, they are very like, okay, if you guys can use your notes, we're gonna make sure we give you the hardest questions ever.
Which makes sense, yeah.
That's time consuming, right? You're not, and mind you, you're obviously timed during this test. It's not like a freaking like, oh yeah, you have a few days to do it. No. And it's, even though it's an open book test, you're using all your notes, we're not allowed to like search shit up, obviously. Like, it's just like, okay, Google knows everything. But right. It's only strictly based on our notes. So what I did was basically our test would be composed of like 4 or 5 weeks worth of content. So what I would do is I would take like all the lecture notes like that my prof would post, and essentially I would just like divide them. For example, like for me, like a topic like diabetes or like heart failure or like just all these diseases that we learned in a course, right? That was an open book like test. It would be like 4 or 5 weeks worth of content. Again, it's so much to study and so much to like freaking put in your head. So you need to like know, you need to be well aware of your content so you know where everything is when you're looking for the answer when the question's asking you, right? So what I did, I took basically 2 post-it notes and I put it on the front of the page of my notes, and I basically made a table of contents. So I basically made like so I numbered each page of my notes, and I did page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, whatever, so on to how many ever like pages my notes were, and then I would write subheadings. So for example, page 1 would be diabetes. Page 2 would be heart failure. Page 3 would be the urinary system. Like all the things that I need for the test that I know that's going to be covered, I would write a table of contents in front, like the first page. So then, and honestly, I used to like put post-it notes and shit like before, right? So I would know like where things are. But that did not help me at all. I was way more stressed with post-it notes because I'm like, oh my God, like they're so little, like I can't see it. It's so stressful because I'm not kidding. It's like 10,000 post-it notes around my notes because it's like different shit like for each like slide and stuff, right? So with the table of contents idea, it basically helped me stay more organized. And during the test, for example, if a question was just something regarding diabetes, I will look at the table of contents. I'll be like, okay, page 5 is diabetes. I'll go to page 5, which is the diabetes like section, and then I'll read the question, find the answer, and then get the thing. And that saved me so much time because literally an open book test, I was like this before. I would be shuffling through my notes, just trying to find the answer. And the time was just like ticking, you know? And I'm like, fuck, like I don't have much time. This is so much pressure. But with the table of contents thing, that really, really helped me and saved me so much time. And it helped me do really well. So
there you go, guys.
I really recommend that.
There's your study habits right there.
I learned that last week. So it's just, yeah.
I mean, people who need it will definitely use it. I mean, like, I'm never gonna use that in my life, but that I want you to say it because I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are taking the academic route,
Yeah.
and that can actually take something away from it, you know? Because
Yeah, for sure.
it's a good value provide, especially the table of contents, bro. I didn't even think about that. Like,
I thought about last minute, like cause I was trying to, like, I had 3 exams this week,
so smart,
and
man.
2 of them were open book, and I was thinking, okay, what's a way or that I can do to like quickly access my notes without actually shuffling through and everything? Cause again, like we only have like 50 minutes, right? To like, and you would think, okay, 50 minutes is a long time. No, but the questions that they ask, like you have to actually sit down and be like, oh my god, like what is that? Like it's not like a simple multiple choice answer like A plus B. Like nah, it's not like that. So I had to think, and I'm like, what would work? And then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna create like a table of contents type of thing. And I actually got this idea kind of from my friend because she would write the subheadings on each page. So she would still be like going through the notes because she would be finding the subheadings.
Right.
But then that kind of gave me the idea of why don't I make a table of contents where like it would pinpoint all the ideas and stuff. And she did this for a previous test as well. So then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to do that too. And then I started doing it, and then it saved me so much time. I actually wish I did this before, but now I know for next semester. So
game over.
yeah.
Game over. Do you ever, when you're doing a test question, do you ever, or is this one of your strategies where if you don't know something, you'll skip it, or do you just sit there trying to figure it out until you get it and then move on?
So here's the thing about that, right? So relating to that, we have some tests are you have the ability to go back to questions. Because our tests are designed as one question at a time. You don't see the whole test. For me, at least. I don't know about, like, other programs and stuff. But they would give you one question at a time. And sometimes you can go back to, like, you know, you can go back to question, like, 3 or something if you're on, like, question 57. But some questions are, like, you need to answer on the spot and you can't go back. And that's why, again, you have to watch the time and you kind of be like, okay, like, I need to pick the right answer. So those, like, tests that are you can't go back and stuff, you have to, like, actually value your time and be like, okay, which answer, like, you know, is like works. So for me, like, I would do like process of elimination. If I don't know the answer at all, I would do process of elimination, and then I would try to pick something that like I think is like the most logical answer.
Right, which makes sense.
Yeah, or I'll try to remember, okay, like, did my prof say this in the lecture? Yeah, okay, it's probably right. And then I pick it, and then yeah.
Do you ever go with your gut feeling? Like, how much do you trust your gut when it comes to those types of things?
Okay, so whenever it's like multiple choice, there's always like 2.
Isn't most of the stuff multiple choice?
Pardon?
Isn't most of it multiple choice?
No, like some tests are multiple choice, some tests are like short answers. It's a mix, right?
Oh.
So it's either all multiple choice or all multiple choice, like some multiple choice and some short answer. But again, like with all the multiple choice, like there's always 2 answers that I'm just like, oh my gosh, like which one is it? And I'm an overthinker, right? So like I overthink. This is like the worst for me. I overthink the multiple choice questions, and I'm like, oh my god, like out of these 2 choices, which one? Because I automatically do process of elimination, but then there's always 2 that I'm just like, okay, but this could work if you like think about it this way, you know? And I overthink, and I'm like, oh my god, like I have limited time. I need to pick something, and then I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna go with the one that I feel is right.
Do you usually end up being right or wrong? Is your gut right most of the time?
Well, we can't see the test.
No,
like,
okay, afterwards. No, you don't see afterwards?
No, we can't see our test. We just see our results.
You have no idea.
So I don't even know if
your gut was
right.
right.
Yeah, I don't know. I know they should allow us, but it's just because of like, you know, if we like show our like peers or whatever.
Yeah, I get all that BS. No, I get it. Hey, fair enough. So that wraps up the whole studying thing, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
That was good.
I hope
really
that definitely helped.
I think it will.
Yeah.
All right, hit it back with some more relationship stuff or what?
Sure. Yeah, I can go back.
Yeah. There's still more, guys. I know we sit in silence.
Oh my gosh.
Sound
yeah.
of silence.
This is actually a good topic.
Oh, she's feeling it today. Right?
Shut up. You're feeling it too. Every person. Okay. No.
Damn right I am.
What about like
Yes.
opposite sex friendships in relationships?
Oh. So having friends of the opposite sex when you're in a relationship.
Yeah. Oh wow, this is a very interesting topic.
Yo, this just hit deep for both of us right now. Double-edged sword right there. Yo, the floor is open to you, my friend.
Are you serious? Okay, fine.
What do you mean by serious?
I think for this topic, at least. Well, okay, so I feel like in our society, it usually, okay, like let's just say like a girl, okay, in a relationship.
Throw some personal experience in there as well, because
Anyways, okay, I'll add some of my experience, but it's just like I feel like personally, like, if you've always heard that thing where, you know, if a girl has a guy best friend and she gets into a relationship with another guy, that guy always has, like, that guy's just like, okay, look, well, she has a guy friend, like, that's automatically a problem, right? And, like, I could see, like, again, like, it really depends on the intention of that friendship and, like, the boundaries of that friendship as well that you establish, right? Because you could also have friendships, like, that are more than friendships as well, again, because of the intention and the boundaries that you place with that person. But I'm just trying to say, like, the general notion is that if you're friends with the opposite sex, you're kind of just looked at as just like, okay, like there's competition or stuff. Again, that has to do with insecurities and stuff in the relationship, right? Like, for example, that the common notion, like, if you go on Twitter and stuff, it's like, I saw a tweet today, it was just like, yeah, if she says she has a guy friend, just focus on yourself, bro. And I saw that and I was like, see, like, that's the common notion, right? It's always like, if she has a guy friend, like, that's no problem. But also, you could also say if he has a, like, friend that's a girl, that could also be a problem too, right? It goes both ways. It's not always like, oh yeah, if she has a guy friend, that's a problem. Again, it all just depends on the dynamic of that friendship and the boundaries that both people placed, because, you know, like, it's that, you know, like, that, like, general notion of just, like, after a breakup, the girl always goes to the guy best friend, like, for help and shit, or like for like, oh yeah, like, can you be there for me, you know, like, whatever. And same thing goes with the guy, the boyfriend, right? Like, when he's broken up, whatever, he goes to, like, his friends that are girls, maybe, I don't know, and, like, just, you know, just chill with them, whatever, right, and vibe, whatever, right? But I'm just saying, like I've seen TikToks too. It's just like these are the toxic, like, funny TikToks about relationships and stuff. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna go with the person that I told him not to worry about, and it's like, those type of things, and I look at it and I'm just like, again, it really depends. Like, every relationship that you go into, if they have, like, friends that are the opposite sex, like, it really depends on the dynamic of that friendship, and you kind of just also have to have.
Explain.
You also have, okay, but connecting with that, you also have to have that initial trust for your partner that, you know, like, that they won't, like, do anything, you know what I mean? Like, that they're loyal to you and you're loyal to them. But sorry, what were you saying?
What were you saying?
No, you said something about, like,
no, I was just saying, what does it depend on? Like really go deep in like the different scenarios.
Like, I think, like, honestly, like, for, like, let's say if a guy or a girl is friends, right, just, like, regular friends, I think, again, like, with that, like, intention and, like, boundaries placed, like, I mean, like, what am I, like, I'm just trying to say, like, if you just see them as a friend, just, like, of someone that, you know, like, you hang out with, or someone that you just go to, like, you know, if you need any help or any advice or anything, like, then that's, like, fine, because that could be the same thing for any of your, like, same, like, for me, like, it's the same thing, like, if I go to one of my friends, right, I ask them for advice, and then I go to my guy friends and I ask them for advice too. It's the same thing. I look at it like that. But, like, somehow it could be a problem for my, like, partner, because he could be seeing, like, oh, like, well, you have, like, a lot of guy friends, so that's a problem. But, like, again, he doesn't know the dynamic of, like, the friendship that I have with my guy friends, right? And again, it takes time, and I think how to, like, address that or, like, help with that, I think it would be great if, like, your partner could meet your, like, friends, like, for example, if my future boyfriend, like, he wants to meet my guy friends, sure, he can, like, there's no problem in that. I want all of us to be friends, and I want to meet his friends that are girls too. Like, it's just, like, an equal thing, right? So we all can get comfortable with the dynamic of that friendship, right? And it's, again, it's that, like, stigma of just, like, oh yeah, if she has a guy friend, that's, like, just a problem, or, like, just a problem right there. Oh yeah, like, focus on yourself, bro. Like, that's, you know, like.
So would it be okay if your future boyfriend had a friend that was girl?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would be okay with it, because, you know, if I meet her and I become her friend, I would be okay with it. But also, like, there shouldn't be that, like, I don't even know what the word is, but there shouldn't be, like, he can have friends that are girls and then he doesn't allow me to have any guy friends. Like,
no, yeah, it's double standard. That's a whole nother thing.
But, like, I'm just trying to say, like, I think, like I'm not gonna, like, if my future man, like, wants to hang out with his friends and like, let's just say, like, there are girls there at the party or whatever, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, babe, don't go. No, like, I want it, like, but I'm not, like, in a way, like, I also do trust him in a way, you know, that, like, okay, he's not gonna do anything, like crazy, but it's, you need to have that initial trust with the person. And, like, because, I don't know, I'm just different, like, I have guy friends and stuff, and I'm sure, like, my future man will have, like, friends that are girls or whatever, but, like, I'm just saying, like, yeah. I'm just saying, like, like it would be fine because we both have friends of the opposite sex, and if it's nothing more, if that boundary is not crossed, I think it's fine because it's something. Like it's just a friendship, you know.
What if he just felt there's no need for you to meet his girl that's a friend? What if he's like, yeah, like there's really no reason to?
Okay, then I'll just trust his word for it. But again, if he does something that like is just like questionable, or he like he kind of like for example, like if he does, I don't know, like if he like does some like just something, I don't know, like just crosses that like certain boundary or something with her, then I'll be like, okay, like babe, like I thought you just said like she was just a friend and I trusted your word for it, right?
Cross what kind of boundaries?
I don't know, like I was gonna say kiss her, but like that's just like cheating at that time.
Straight up cheating.
Yeah, but I'm just saying like that type of boundary, or like flirting with her or something, right?
But how'd you know?
That's the thing. Like you would never know, right? And like it's just that like trust that you have with that person. Like you never know, right? So it's again like I would obviously trust my man's word for it, and if she's just a friend, then she's just a friend. Same thing goes for him. Like if I tell him like he's just a friend like to my man, I want him to trust my word for it, right? And I'm gonna like, of course, like we're both gonna like love each other. We're in the relationship and everything, but also maintain that like healthy boundary with like your other friends as well.
Right.
But friends have a huge influence. That's a different topic on a whole thing. But friends definitely do have an influence.
Yeah, we can definitely get into that. Has there ever been a moment where like one of your partners or hookups like ever felt insecure about one of your guys that was a friend? Definitely not hinting at me, but like in general.
Yeah, it's been brought up in the past.
Would you like to share any of those experiences?
It's honestly like it's okay. Like even if let's just say like I've had like
You don't have to say any names.
No, of course like, I'm not saying the names, but I've had like, you know, guys like even if they didn't like react to it, I've sensed that feeling of like right. Okay, they're uncomfortable with it. Like I know that, right? And again, there's nothing like even if let's just say at the time like if they didn't like ask me to be their girlfriend or anything, but they still like, you know, we were still like talking and everything, right? And I just mentioned the fact that, oh yeah, I have a few guy friends here and there, right, whatever. And then I could see like the uncomfortable, like I could sense the uncomfortableness. Right. And I could see that, and like that's not my intention at all, like of making him jealous or anything. No, of course not. I'm just trying to be open, yeah. Right? I'm just trying to be like, okay, like if you do have any friends that are girls, like I'm cool with like meeting them, making more friends. Sure, why not? Like, you know, it's an excuse for me. But I'm just saying like, in general, like I've had experiences from the past where even if I didn't get a like reaction out of it, like I've sensed like, okay, they're uncomfortable. And of course, like
so
if my partner, no, but like I'm just saying in the future, if my partner ever feels like you know, like babe, or no, if my partner ever says like, babe, like I don't think, you know, you should be friends with like him, I would honestly respect that, and I'll be like, okay, you know what, you're right. Because if it makes you uncomfortable, like, you know, if it makes you uncomfortable right. for me talking to one of my guy friends or whatever, like as just like, you know, a regular healthy friendship, then I'll be like, okay, then I'll not like I'll just be like, okay, you know, I'll talk to my guy friend. I'll be like, listen, I don't think we should be friends anymore just because right. of my like partner, you know, like we just kind of came to a conclusion, and honestly like I'm sure all my guy friends would just be like, okay, you know, like I respect that, and you know, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know who's all, but yeah,
shut up. Anyways, listen. So yeah, so like I would for sure like if my future man like had a.
So you'd be okay with this. So if he's like, yeah, I feel uncomfortable with you having that friend.
Yeah, of course, I would respect my partner in order, obviously, because I care about my partner. So I'd be like, if that makes you uncomfortable, of course, I'll totally cut that person off. But again, that also goes both ways.
I'm assuming then you tell him.
Assuming that, you know, okay. if he like also has a friend that's a girl or whatever, and like and like I notice some things or whatever, and I tell him about it, and then he's just like, okay, babe, like, you know, if she makes you like uncomfortable, of course I'll cut her off, and then I'll do the same thing as well, because it's fair, 50-50, right?
Right, and that makes sense. It's like you don't want there to be any double standards, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
And so let's say if you were trying to like not save the relationship, but let's say if your like man felt uncomfortable with it and you ended up cutting off that best friend, would it be okay for that best friend to get mad at you for cutting them off because you're trying to flourish that relationship and make your partner feel comfortable?
Here's one thing about that. I definitely think it's okay to like, of course, like if you're like friends, like your guy friend or your friend that's a girl or whatever, like if they really like value you as a person, they're going to like be like, okay, like I respect, if they really respect you, they're gonna respect your decision.
I'd hope so.
Okay, they're gonna respect your decision, and they're gonna be like, okay, like I understand, you know, like if that's what you have to do, that's how you have to do, like whatever. I wish you the best, you know, take care.
Yeah.
Right. It's all like obviously like good things. No hatred, no nothing. But I'm just saying, if you are going to cut one of your friends off, I think the most decent thing would be is to probably communicate with them
Oh,
and
100%.
address with them like, hey, listen, like I'm just, I got into this relationship and like it's going great for me, and my partner just wants me to focus on him right now, and he just doesn't want me to be like friends with some like certain guys or whatever. Okay, I'm gonna respect that, and I'm going to cut that friend off, or I'm gonna cut certain people off. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to go to my guy friend and I'm going to communicate with my guy friend, and I'm gonna be like, hey bro, listen, like I'm seeing someone, I'm dating someone right now. They're not comfortable with like me talking to you. I hope you respect that, and I wish you the best. And honestly, like I hope like everything goes well in your favor for the future and everything, and you accomplish your goals or whatever, right? You have a proper conversation with them before you cut them off. I don't think you should straight up cut your friend off without telling them anything, and then you kind of just let your friend assume, okay, like they cut me off because of the relationship. But again, I think the most decent and bare minimum thing would do is to just explain to your friend. I'm sure she would understand because
See, guys,
friendships.
This is what I'm about to say. I feel like one of the strongest things you can do is actually expose yourself. And so what I'm about to say is like, this is what happened between us, just because like obviously that's where the tension was building to. So she didn't want to say it first because obviously she wasn't strong enough to say it. But I'll be the guy that steps up and actually says the situation. So with my ex, back in the day with my ex. Anyways, back in the day with my ex, so when we got into our relationship, there was a few girls. So obviously like she was one of them. And then like, cause like I'm cool with like a lot of girls. Some guys don't have friends that are girls like that, but I do. Like it's not only her, but like a couple others I talk to and I chill with and whatever, And and during my relationship, there would be times where like I don't know how it happened, where like she like found out about you. I don't know what it was, but she was feeling just like super insecure about it, like just because I was telling my ex about like our history and how like we known each other and all this stuff, right? And she was already uncomfortable with it because of like she's really damaged in the sense of she has a lot of insecurities like that, and she's been probably, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way she was cheating on in the past, where like her like past boyfriend maybe have gone like for their like girl that he said not to worry about or something. Who knows? I don't know. I'm not gonna say because I really do not know. I never I never really asked her, but it came to a point where my ex was like, okay, you gotta cut her off. You gotta cut off like these other people as well. So I'm like, you know what? I did what I had to do because I want like she felt uncomfortable, and like I want to like pursue the relationship, and I did everything. There's so many things I did. I even told her straight to her face, I'm like, yo, I never want you to worry about anything. That's literally what I told her. So like I was proactively doing things so she would never have to feel uncomfortable, because I knew her past, I knew her anxieties, I knew her baggage, and I knew all of that would almost like resurface if there were other girls present in my life and I wasn't kind of like focusing on her. And so one of the things was like, she's okay, you have to cut off these people. I feel uncomfortable with them because like I feel like they're trying to hit on you, or like you guys can't really be friends, whatever, right? So I ended up just like cutting her off more or less out of the blue. And my other friend, I ended up beefing with my other friend actually before I ended up blocking her. So I ended up blocking a couple people, her and somebody else. And then even with like other girls I knew, like I ended up like stopped snapping them. I stopped talking to them all together. Like I like exited their private story. Like anything where like girls would appear anywhere, I just stopped. I literally mute girls' posts on Instagram. I muted girls' stories on Snapchat. I stopped talking to all the girls. I literally had zero girls in my life, nor on my social media, nor talking to. And these are people I knew for a long time. Like her, since grade 7. This other girl I knew since like, let's just say grade 10 or 11. Another one since I more or less knew from my childhood. So there's a few people that I eventually just say more or less cut off, but she was definitely one of them. And where I fucked up, and this is definitely this is a lesson for especially all the guys out there, is that if you're gonna get to a point where like your partner doesn't feel comfortable with your friend, and if you feel the need that you need to cut off your friend, have that conversation with them, have that open communication, and tell them, yo, this is what's happening. My partner just feels uncomfortable with you, and like I really don't want to break apart this relationship because I think it's something good. And if they understand, then you can come to a mutual agreement and then kind of just go your separate ways in the meantime until like maybe something happens or until you break up or whatever, And so as opposed to just blocking someone out of nowhere, like the way I did, at least have that conversation. Don't be a wuss the way I was, and don't be weak the way I was, backing down from a reaction or a judgment or whatever it is. You just have to say it because it's the right thing to do. And then you can make your call. And even if your friend feels uncomfortable with it, then you make the final call, whether you want to still block them or end things with your relationship or whatever it is. But here's another thing too. Here's what it leads into too. I don't even think it should get to that point to begin with. I don't even think it should get to a point where you have to cut off people that you've known for a long time, because that's a big sign of insecurity from both sides. But that's assuming things are actually completely platonic. That's assuming where it's not like, because I could easily say, okay, this girl's just a friend, but she may not view it that way, right? Because then there might be some that person might be trying to push their agenda, and they might be trying to like low-key steal you interest. That case, okay, I can kind of see how that can be a problem. But if it's completely platonic, maybe your friend is already in another relationship, or they're going for other guys or girls or whatever it is, right? And your partner still has a problem with that. That's how you know that's because of their insecurity and shit that they're going through, because it's like, because that's how they don't feel secure with themselves. And at that point, that's probably only the tip of the iceberg. If that's one of the first things you're seeing in them, who knows what other insecurities they have lying beneath that? Because we all have friends of the opposite sex. It's just a matter of how we deal with it and how your partner feels about it. And so that's gonna be one of the first signs to show you if this is gonna be a troubled relationship. And so really take that into consideration. If you have friends that are completely platonic of the opposite sex, and your partner finds it a problem, even after you've told them what kind of relationship you have, even after you told them it's completely platonic, then you make your call. I'm telling you right now, that's only the start of the shit you're gonna have to go through with that person. And so make your call. Because
like you said, like even if like, you tell your partner that this, like, my guy friend or whatever, if you're a guy, your friend that's a girl, like, and you say like they're literally going for other people, or they're in a relationship, or in their talking stage or whatever, and your partner still has a problem with that, then it's like you said, it's just like, okay, like, but they're not even like it's not even that like dynamic that I have with the person, right? And like you said, again, like, there are things that that your partner could see that maybe you may not maybe you may not see it, right? And again, like, that's why I said, like, maybe like it could get to the point where you have your partner meet with your friends or whatever. But I just think that, again, like, if your partner truly feels uncomfortable, or like, your partner is just like I just feel uncomfortable, I don't think you should talk to that person, then okay, you could be like, okay, maybe like, for the respect of this relationship, I'm going to do that, right? And you're gonna have that civil conversation with your friend, saying that, I'm gonna cut you off because of like my relationship.
100%.
And again, your friend is gonna respect that because your friend respects you. So hopefully, like, of course your friend is gonna be like, yeah, like, a decent, normal, proper friend would be like, okay, you know what, like, you're right, and I honestly wish you the best, you and your relationship, and I hope things like go well for both of you. That's like the like proper, normal, decent conversation you would have with your guy friend or your friend that's a girl. But I'm just saying, like, it's, again, like, it's a very, like, again, like, social media, it's I feel like there's so many stories where, like, of like guy friends and like girlfriends, they've like done stuff, and it just kind of gave that message to everyone that, okay, if your partner has friends with the opposite sex, they're most likely to like cheat. That's like the like the stereotype of it, right? But like you said, it depends on the dynamic, it depends on the boundaries established as well, and it also depends on the, like, even after you tell the person, like, okay, like, babe, like, he's literally going for other girls, or she's going literally for like other guys and stuff, right? And you already said that, and the person still has a problem with that, then you're just like, okay, like, what is truly the problem here? Are you the problem?
That's what I'm saying. So who do you choose? So it's like, would you still sacrifice your best friend, even though it's completely platonic, for that partner?
I definitely, like, honestly, at that point,
I know it's all subjective, but like,
at that point, I think I would want my partner to meet my like best friend. And I want them to, like, become friends and, like, get that, smart, like, friendship. Smart. So they're both comfortable with each other. And they both know each other and everything, and get to know each other, whatever. And we can eventually just become a huge friend group. Like, that's cool, too. Obviously, with the relationship in it. But I'm just trying to say, like, I think at that time, like, if your partner still has, like, those insecurities, again, if you still really, truly care about the person and you really want the relationship to work, you're going to, like, you would have to have the patience to, if the person with the insecurity is willing to acknowledge their own insecurity and be like, babe, I have like a jealousy problem, I get jealous easily or whatever, and I'm gonna work on it. And then the person who, like, the other person on the other end of the relationship is just like, okay, like, let's work on it together, okay, what am I gonna do to help with my partner being jealous? Okay, maybe if, like, we, like, if I have to cut someone off, like, I'll do it, right? But again, it takes time. If you really want to, like, if you really really want the relationship to work out, you would have to like do like what you want, like, or you would really have to like really have be patient with your partner if you really want things to work out. But again, like, you also have to, then there's a whole idea of you have to think about yourself as well. If, okay, is this really the person that I want to be with? If they're gonna have like this much insecurity and they won't even trust me for like, even if I tell them where I am, or they keep constantly calling me and saying like, oh, you're not where you are or whatever, and have all these like insecure like type of things, then you're just like, okay, but now your problem is not even based on my guy friends or my friends or girls. Your problem is just based on me now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then now it just goes to like, okay, do you even think I'm loyal now? Like, do you even actually trust me now? And then the person might just be like, honestly, I don't trust you. And then now again,
And that
like,
relationship.
build the basic building blocks of a relationship: trust, communication, honesty, like blah blah. Like, keep going. The list goes on. But I'm just saying, like, if your partner can't trust you, and that's actually the deep thing within, when they have a problem with like you like having guy friends or you having friends that are girls or whatever, like, it, like, you know, that can also stem from a deeper insecurity of jealousy, and, you know, like, you're jealous of like whatever the other person and stuff. But I'm just saying, if you generally just don't trust your partner, then you should not have a relationship at all, because it's just like, what is the point then? Like, and I've been in this situation where, like, you know, like my ex, like, he had like, you know, we both had like, I'm not gonna like say like, oh, like, he did this, we both were the problem of the relationship. We both contributed to it. Like, he did stuff, I did stuff too. Like, and I'm not saying it's like, oh, like, not to the extent of cheating or anything. No, like, I'm just saying we've had problems in our relationship where trust was like one of the factors, right? And again, it's like it like, it took us time and stuff, but again, it has, at the end of it, you just have to ask you have to ask your partner, like, do you even trust me anymore? And if your partner says like, honestly, I don't even trust you anymore, then you're just like, you have to think, okay, like, do I even want to pursue this relationship?
No, you can't. No, guys, once trust is gone, end it.
Once the trust is gone,
like, break it up right
and it's also hard to build that. Even if it's gone, like, it's hard to build that trust back, because you have to reassure. Not saying that reassurance is bad, but I'm just saying you need to like, additionally, like, reassure your partner. Like, I was gonna say patient. You have to reassure your partner like multiple times that, okay, like, you know, like, babe, like, I'll do anything. But at that time, it's just like, okay, now, like, I have to like actually like prove to you that I'm actually at like whatever. Then honestly, for personally, if my partner doesn't trust me, then it's just like, all right,
I think it's over. I think you just end it right there,
I'm just not even gonna like,
just don't.
I'm not even gonna pursue that. And again, that was like, with my ex and stuff, we've had problems with that and stuff, and honestly, we just came to a conclusion like, okay, it's just not gonna work out. And like, yeah. But again, like, it never went to an extent where it was just like cheating was not like that. It was not like that at all.
Right.
But I'm just saying, we've had problems where like both of us were, you know, like, we just couldn't communicate properly, and like it just didn't work out. And that's fine. Like, not every relationship will work out, you know? Like, you kind of just look at the relationship as experiences and kind of be like, okay, what do I want in my next partner, you know? Like, all
and
that.
and I always do believe that, like, if you're gonna get into a relationship with somebody, you both need to be there to add to each other's life, not to like take away from it. Because a lot of people that come into it with baggage, they're only there to take away from you. They're not going to add to it, because you both need to be happy on your own and then come together to enhance and uplift each other's lives. Not, okay, let me help you with this problem, let me help you with that problem. I think that's the best way to go, right? It's tough when you're just dealing with somebody's problems like that, right? Because that's not what a relationship should be.
Yeah, it shouldn't be like a therapist type of thing.
Yeah,
like, where you're no, but like, not saying like, okay, like, you know, you can't go to your partner for help or anything. No, not saying that. But we're just trying to say, like, literally, like, when you're like in a relationship, you also, oh my gosh, the importance of a relationship also, like, having like independence as well. As much as a relationship brings two people together, it's also very important to have your own space and be independent, because if you're always depending on your partner for everything, for your happiness, for everything,
that's codependency.
Exactly. And your partner won't, and like, for example, if you are to like depend on your partner for happiness, right? Your partner's not always gonna bring that to the table. Your partner's gonna change. And like, as we all get older, we're all gonna change. We're all gonna, like, you know, like, have all these, like, I don't know, everyone's gonna just change because, like, you know, experiences and stuff, we learn from everything. But I'm just trying to say, like, like as experiences come through and like, you know, like if you're depending on your partner for happiness and everything, you're most likely just going to be disappointed because your partner is not going to fulfill your happiness. You need to learn how to become happy by yourself. And that's why it's very important to like, goes back to self-love, right? Like if you can't love yourself, then you can't love someone else. Because like if you can't like learn how to become happy on single, like by yourself with, you know, doing things that you love doing independently without like being codependent on another person, then it's fine. But if you're always depending on someone for your happiness, for everything and stuff, it's kind of just like,
your life's gonna be shit. That's the moral of the story.
You're just depend. It's kind of like a child to your parent. You're depending on your parent, like, because obviously, you know, a child, they can't work or anything, but you're depending on your parent for everything. Same thing goes for a relationship. If you're dependent with your partner, you're just depending on them for your happiness and
Codependency
stuff.
never works out, guys.
It just never works out.
Yeah, and the one thing I want to add to that is if you notice that there are some problems in the relationship, it's your call whether you want to end it. I mean, it's, if you were there for, if your whole intention was to have a loving relationship and to add to each other's life, but if you feel like your partner is degrading you and that you should feel better being in a relationship. You shouldn't have anxiety every single day. And like I've been through that with my ex. I had anxiety almost every single day. And so you shouldn't have that feeling. You shouldn't feel like you're worrying about something or like...
It's also like you don't want, like connecting with what you said, you don't want to be in a relationship where you're walking on eggshells, where you're kind of worrying about, okay, like, oh my God, did I say something that like again, that goes with like the ineffectiveness of like miscommunication and stuff. You can't communicate properly, then you're just kind of worried about like, oh my God, like did I say something that offended him, or is that why he's upset? Is that why he's not talking to me for a couple hours or whatever, right? Or is that why he distanced himself from me? Like you just start overthinking, and then because of that, you can get insecurities yourself because you're just like, what did I do? Like you know what I mean? Like your person could be like upset about something completely different and not talk to you at all, and you think it's your fault. And then without the communication and stuff, you're just like, okay, like I have to literally walk on eggshells. I have to put on a facade. You have to put on a facade to make your partner basically
Game
happy
over,
or fulfilled. Don't be in that relationship. It's
Don't.
not worth it.
It's not.
Because so also like if you're having a future, if you see a future with that person and let's say you end up marrying them, marrying someone versus dating is complete different thing, because you're actually living with the person. You're actually seeing them 24 hours a day. You're seeing how their good times and their bad times. Like, of course, in a relationship, you see them obviously in their bad times for like fights and stuff. But when you actually live with someone, it's completely different, because you have to adapt to their thing. You may not like some things that they do, and they may not like some things you do. But it again, if like it really like you have like marriage is a whole different.
Yeah,
like,
they say you don't really know a person until you live with them.
Exactly, for sure, 100%. And that's why like many couples like they move in like before marriage just to see, you know, like oh, like that general question of just like, oh, like, do you want to move in with me and stuff, right? And that whole thing. And then
No.
couples move in together and stuff, and like they live for each other. I mean, like they live with each other for like what, like few years and stuff, and then they get married down the line. But again, like when you live with someone, like you see them in their good times and their bad, and like you want to make sure that you like, you know, you want to be in a relationship where you're you're comfortable with your partner, and you're willing to open up to your partner and not being afraid of like walking on eggshells, and you know, like just essentially just like be comfortable. And like, I don't know, for me personally, like what I've learned from all my experiences, like from dealing with situationships and relationships and stuff, I've just learned that like the next person that I want to date is, I want to make sure that like I want to be like comfortable with them, and I want to make sure that we both like it's almost like he's like my best friend, you know what I mean? Like it's almost like where we are both open to each other, we're both trusting, and I want him to tell me things that, you know, like tell me things, just open up about himself and become vulnerable with each other, you know, like that type of emotional connection. Like I really want that, right? Because it's just like, if we're able to have that emotional connection as well, like it's like you're comfortable with talking to a person, you know, you're more likely to go to them for help as well as your partner, obviously. But I'm just saying, like, it's when you have that emotional connection as well, it's amazing. It makes the connection even better and enhances the connection. Because if it's all physical is just very temporary. Like physical is just like, yeah, you can have hookups like, you know, like a couple months or whatever, and then it's kind of just like, okay, like this is all this person this is all that I see them for. You know what I mean? It's as sad as it's to say. If you just have attraction just all physical, then it's just friends with benefits at that point. But I'm just saying, like, with that, it's just, if you also are an emotionally invested person, you're all like, I'm a emotionally invested person, and I, like, of course I catch feels and stuff, and I obviously want something more. But if the person just wants a friends with benefits, that's just a whole different
And
thing.
it sucks to say, but us being emotionally invested, because I'm the same way, has gotten us into trouble in the sense of we're willing to put up with bullshit.
Yeah.
That, like, we gone through shit with my ex or your exes or whatever, that, like, we put up with their shortcomings that were just foundationally wrong. Like, they were just like foundational elements that were broken, but we put up with it because we were so invested, because we saw the potential, because we wanted things to work out. We're like, okay, I'll work with you, it's okay. You know, we were willing to put our happiness, our sanity, our mental health aside for them, so they would be happy and so they could walk all over us. And it's just like, and I just want to wrap up this point, I'm sorry. And that's kind of like a downside of being emotionally invested, and that's why we definitely need to become more selfish when it comes to who we end up with, and making sure they're in a very stable place to add to your life and not take away from it, as I said before. And one last thing, if you do see that there are problems like this, as opposed to them walking all over you and you putting up with it, you got to make a call. If you think this problem is going to really negatively affect you and the rest of your relationship, and if you see it early on, you got to make a call if you want to end it or not. You can honestly talk to them and give them one more chance, just so maybe give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe see if they'll change. But don't do what we did. Like, we ended up putting up for stuff for way too long, and we ended up, like, kind of wasting our time, low key. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, it was a good experience. Don't get me wrong. I think we can both say we're both very grateful for the shit that we went through,
For sure.
because it opened our eyes to a whole new thing. And experiences as a whole is good to have, even if it's bad ones, because you learn a lot from it. You learn what you want, what you don't want. You learn how to deal with certain situations, certain insecurities, how to deal with certain people. And so these are all valuable experiences. But when it comes on to your sake of your happiness, you got to make that executive call, whether you want to end it there. If you see a problem of, like, let's see, jealousy or insecurity, be like, you know what? I just don't think we're compatible, and go your separate ways. I'm telling you, you might be sad in the moment, but you're going to be so much happier long term. You would have saved yourself so much time, and you would have been on to the next person. Or you can take the route of, okay, babe, listen, this is what you're doing. First, tell me, do you see this as a problem? Yes. Cool. Okay, these are the solutions. Okay, babe, I'm going to do that. Okay, cool. If they, and tell them, listen, if you can't fix this, I'm only giving you one chance. If you can't fix this, then we're gonna have to split. And if they do it again, be like, you know what, I'm sorry, but this is not working.
Yeah.
And don't let them say, like, no, it's okay, no, give me another chance, because they're probably, if they didn't have enough respect for you to change the first time you gave them a chance, they're probably not gonna change again. And so don't put up with all that BS and them sobbing and be like, oh my god, babe, like, give me one more chance. No.
Reminds me of, like, that TikToker.
No.
Let me in.
Let me in. Literally. No. And that's what I'm saying, guys. You got to make that call. Don't let people walk over you. Either give them one more chance, set those boundaries, and leave if they don't. Or if you just want to say fuck it and save your time altogether, leave.
Also, like connecting with that, like, I also feel like when you give someone so many chances, they just eventually just take advantage of you, because they know, like, okay, this person's giving me so many chances, I can fuck up, like, all these times, right? But here's the downside. Like, if you also, again, like us, we're very emotionally invested people, but, like, if you also, like, eventually just get fed up with all the bullshit, and you're just like, I've told you multiple times, or, like, I've tried to explain myself why I'm upset. But if you're gonna sit here and you're gonna blame shit on me, and you're gonna, like, you know, find things to just target the problem towards me so it helps your ego, and it's not even, like, helping the problem at all, it's not addressing anything, then it's just like, what is the point of, like, going through, like, what's the point of talking about the problem, right? Like, what's the point of myself explaining, or spending time out of my life explaining the situation of why I'm upset to you, and then you're just, like, here just targeting me and just kind of, like, doing, oh, like, you know, well, okay, but you did this or whatever. Like, that's not addressing the problem, right? Sure, we could talk about that after, but let's also address the problem of, like, what is really the root, like, what's the actual problem here, you know what I mean? Instead of targeting, like, okay, but you did this, because it's just like, okay, but you're just kind of finding fault, and, like, you know, like, here's the thing, those people who literally take other things and they blame it on you, they also, like, know deep down inside that you are right. and you have a valid point to why you are upset, and you have valid reasons to why you're upset, and there's a reason why you're saying all that, and they see that. But their ego is so much that they're just like, okay, I'm not willing to accept this. So I'm going to find things that this person has done in the past and have apologized or whatever for. And I'm just going to find that. I'm going to say that, okay, but you did this, or I didn't even mean it like that, or baby, it was just a joke. Oh my God, that makes me so upset.
Explain the inner joke behind that.
It's honestly, I feel like the whole term of it's just a joke. Like, I just feel like
it's a cover up.
Okay, like personally, like if you know, like yeah, for sure, but obviously because it's just like, oh, I know I've hurt you, but I'm gonna say it's just a joke, just so like like you're fine, just so like I wasn't serious.
You know what that reminds me of? It's like when you're texting someone and you don't want to come off as serious, you just put a laughing emoji.
Yeah, you say LOL or something.
Yeah,
like
or
at the end,
to like make it softer.
Yeah,
like it's the same
but
shit.
But it's also like you have to like think like when that person says that, like something that. Okay, if someone were to just say a joke or whatever, right? They think that, okay, it's just a joke, she's just gonna laugh at it or something, or he's gonna laugh at it. But then like and the person said, yo, like I'm actually like kind of upset of like what you said. And then the person who said the joke would be like, okay, like if the person were to actually respect you and be like, okay, I'm sorry, like I'm actually sorry if that offended you, or I'm sorry, like I won't repeat that. But then there's also people out there that are just like, it's just a joke, relax, like you're overreacting or you're so dramatic. But then you also have to know that if that so-called joke hurt that other person, you're kind of just you're just kind of questioning how they're feeling at that point. Like everyone is entitled to their own feelings, right? But if you're like saying it's just a joke, why are you so dramatic, and gaslighting the person for just telling them that what you said upset them, then it's just like what the hell? Like you're literally just saying like how you feel.
Has there been a time where that's happened to you?
Yeah, it's been many times.
Is there any examples that you can give to like?
Well, like right now I can't think of any. But listen, it's just like I've been in situations where like I've had like guys telling me like, oh, it's just a joke, you're overreacting, you're so dramatic, like whatever, you're like I don't know why you're like being so upset about this or something. And I tell them a valid reason. I'm just like, I'm upset because like you like I don't know, like it's always like.
But were you upset for valid reason? Because that's like, I don't know what example you're thinking of, so like I don't know like whose side was it on? Like did you have a right to be sad? Like did you have a right to be mad?
If it was like a joke, like for example, like if the guy were like send like a meme or whatever, and like he sent me a meme and it was just like it was just a sexual meme or whatever, and he's just like, oh, like it would be great if you send me a snap like this or something, right? And I'm like, oh, like I don't want to send a snap like that. That's what I said. And then he's like, oh, like what, relax, it's just a joke, like I didn't even expect you to take that so seriously. And he just went off and whatever. And at the time I was just like, yo, like I just don't feel comfortable like taking that, like, or whatever, right? And like at the time it's just like, am I not like validated to say like how I feel, or like if I don't find something funny, obviously I'm gonna say like, okay, like yo, that was not funny, that kind of hurt my feelings, right, whatever. But then to the guy, he's just like, oh, it's just a joke, or he knows he hurt my feelings, but he's just like, yo, like I'm just gonna say it's just a joke because I know it hurt her, but I'm just gonna be like, yo, she's just dramatic or whatever. But it's just a cover up because they know they truly hurt you. So
right.
It's just like,
yeah, and they don't want to take responsibility.
Yeah.
It's always like that. And like there's this other inside joke that we have where like I guess you could say it's a form of gaslighting where
and you think I don't? Is it that one?
Yeah, that's that one, which I'm gonna say right now. It's like what's a good example? Like it's like you could be like sharing your feelings, right? You could just be like,
oh yeah.
You could be saying like hey babe, like fuck, I want something good though. I want to get like a good example.
Like you could be like,
you probably have a better example. Like
yeah,
give me something because I'm trying to think.
Happened to me before.
I know little stuff, but like give me something that's like something that was like legit.
Like you could say like
what's something that you said that like there's just like, and I know, pick something.
Oh my god.
Just say it.
I'm trying to think of my experience because this has happened to me before.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I want you to give a good example.
Like I've said something and then he's always like, oh yeah, do you think I don't? And I'm like, what are you talking about?
I was just expressing how I feel.
I was literally just telling you how I feel. Like how is this like I don't understand what you, okay, like I don't even get that. But I think it was, oh my god, I'm trying to think, like Oh yeah, okay. So for example, like if it, like for I think it was like, so I don't remember like the like what exactly happened, but like roughly, I think he said something that like offended me or something, and then I said like, yo, like this really hurt me or whatever, like blah blah blah, and then I'm like, this like actually hurt me or whatever, right? And then he's like okay, but you think it didn't hurt me or something like that, and I'm like, okay, but it's something you told me that hurt my feelings. So what does this have to like? I don't understand.
That's so irrelevant.
Yeah,
like, okay,
and he's like, oh, okay, you think I don't? Like I do this, I do, and I'm just like, okay, wow, like what a form of gaslighting then now, you know what I mean? Like I'm just like, okay, like I can't think of like a fully, like it happened so long ago, but it's just like I think about it and I look back and I'm like, wow, that's so like that's so toxic. Like
it actually is.
man, like I'm just literally trying to say,
Because they're not
like,
validating your feelings. They just want to like put their feelings in there too. Like, oh, and I don't.
yeah.
Like
You think you okay, you like I get you're hurt, but you don't think I'm hurt? Like that's kind of like the whole thing about it.
right.
But it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you can communicate how you feel and stuff. You could say like, okay, you're hurt by it too. But okay, there's a better way of saying that. You could be like,
Right.
okay, babe, but like, you know, like let's look at the problem, like the whole thing, and you know, talk about it instead of saying, okay, you don't think I did, like, you know what I mean? It's kind of
I
just
know.
like you're kind of putting your feelings over the person who's actually hurt.
Yeah.
And again, it's a form of gaslighting. So it's
And it's funny because it's gotten to a point where like we've made it our joke now. Like I know today, like we were walking to my building after getting Chick-fil-A, and she needs to go take a pee, right? So she's like, "Oh, I need to pee when I get to your condo," and I just said, "And I don't."
yeah.
like what? It's just funny. So now we say that for literally like everything now. It's just funny. So it's become one of our inside jokes. I don't know, man.
Yeah, gaslighting is totally funny, right? Oh my god, it's crazy.
These behaviors, man. Some of these guys / girls, like.
I look at that and I honestly like I look at the experiences of like when things happen and stuff, and I look back at it now, and I just think I'm like, how could have I like maybe like if I reacted a different way, or if I like, you know, said like, if I just reacted a different way, would that still have happened? You know, I always look back at situations in my life where, you know, in situationships or relationships and problems and stuff, and I look back at it and I think like, okay, like if I reacted in a different way, like would he still have said the same things? Like what, like I still think about that, you know, and I still think about it, and I just look back at it and I'm like, wow, like honestly, like this makes me like want to just like, I see my flaws too. Like I wish obviously I communicated better in certain situations as well. Like I'm clearly not perfect. I have so many things to work on, and I look back at it and I'm just like, okay, like I should have done this, or I should have, you know, like maybe said at the moment right there then and there, like I'm upset, instead of saying it like a little later or something, you know, like. But again, like I look back at it now and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do that for my next relationship. I'm gonna try to, you know, like talk about like how I felt, or say immediately like how I feel and stuff,
Yeah, it's
and address
definitely
the problem. But again, it depends on the guy too, or it depends on who I end
That's
up
true.
with, because
That's true.
he could also do the same thing and be like, oh, okay, well, you know, like, and you think I don't, you know, like that whole like thing. So
It's definitely a very mature thing to self-reflect,
Yeah,
and to
'cause
move
again-
on stronger and becoming a better person. But one thing that kind of caught me off guard is you said you have many things to work on. So that being said, like, do you think you're ready for a relationship?
honestly, in this stage of
Because
my
that
life,
kind of made me scared when you
because
said that right now. I'm not gonna lie.
no, like I mean, of course, like even if you're in a relationship, you could work on things independently as well to become
Explain.
a better person. For example, like I mean, individual goals and stuff like you want to accomplish. Like if you want to, like if for example,
Okay, besides that, that's like career stuff. But like when people say, "Oh, we can work on stuff all in a relationship," they're usually referring to like their own personal stuff, like their behaviors and traits and all this shit.
yeah, I mean, well, I'm single now, so like I look back at my like situationships and relationships, and I look back at it, and I think, okay, like maybe at the time, like I'm just like, okay, that was immature of me to do. Like I should have just, you know, like communicated better, or I should have just, I don't know. Like I look back and I'm like, I should have just done that, you know, like, you know what I mean? And I look back now and I'm just like, okay, for my, like, I want to work on, you know, better communicating. I want to work on just like honestly just probably finding the right person to actually communicate these things with, because I can communicate these things all I want to the wrong person and still be gaslit and just treated like shit.
Right.
But I'm just saying, like, also finding that proper person and like, you know, actually working on things like better communication, like also like, you know, there are things that I'm insecure about as well that like I want to work on as well. But it's not like insecurity as in like, oh, like
Do you mind sharing them?
he's not, well, I mean, it's not like insecurities like, oh, like he can't have any girlfriends or something. No, it's not like that. Insecurities as in like my own like image of myself, and like, you know, like I obviously have like physical. Everyone has physical insecurities as well. I'm talking about those type of insecurities, social media and everything, so like all that. But I'm just saying.
So how does that affect your actual relationship?
Like, for example, I don't know, like my relationship, as in like if I'm not happy with myself, like, and if I'm like constantly like comparing myself to like other girls or like people on like social, like, you know, celebrities or something, right? It kind of like destroys my self-image of myself, and then like it could also affect like our relationship, because again, like, I'm not happy with myself, so I'm using my happiness then on the relationship itself as that to fill that void, because I'm not happy with myself. This goes back to that conversation that we had, like, you need to be like, you need to learn how to be happy independently as well, right? And that's why I'm taking this time where, you know, like,
But how, as I said, how's that going to affect your relationship though?
like, it's gonna affect your relationship, as in, no, I'm talking about like not the actual insecurity itself, but like that void that you, like, that unhappiness that you feel, you're gonna put that into the relationship and then be codependent on that person. That's what I mean. But I'm just talking about like insecurities I have where like of myself that I want to work on, you know, becoming more confident, and, you know, like, just like learning how to move past that. But it's not like insecurities like, oh, like, he can't have any girlfriends, or I'm just jealous of whoever he follows on Instagram. Like, no, I don't. It's not like that. But it's just, I look at myself and I'm just like, okay, like, I want to be like a better person. Like, I wish, you know, I look at my past situations and I'm like, okay, I should have better communicated. I should have, you know, like, I should have.
So where do you think you lacked? So like, let's just adjust communication for a second. So where do you think you lacked in your communication? Because you said better communication.
I think like, at the time I used to, like, after like a fight or something, I used to, like, with my ex, like, I used to kind of just like, we both kind of just, like, both are so like, we both kind of distance each other, like, for like, we would basically, like, we both would give each other space after a fight, but then like maybe like within an hour or so I would want to like address the problem. Like, I want to address the problem like as soon as like I like, or I feel like he's ready, or I feel like I'm ready to talk about it as well. But like most likely like within an hour or so I'm like, okay, I want to address the problem. Let's fix it. Let's say our sorries. Let's put in the action to not do it again, to upset each other, and then move on, and then just still be like a happy couple. But I'm just saying, like, that's something I lacked on, because at the time I would just like kind of distance myself, and I would just act petty, and I would just not like communicate properly, and I would just be like, okay, well, like, I'm hurt because you did this, right? And then he would be like, okay, well, you know, I'm hurt because you did this and stuff, right? And then we kind of just started another fight.
Yeah, flipping back on each other. So
it wouldn't be like an actual talking about like the problem itself. It would just necessarily just be kind of like, okay, you did this, you did this. So then obviously now I look back at it and I'm like, okay, I wish I kind of was more understanding when he told me, okay, Anna, like, you did, like, you know, these things that upset me. And I wish at the time I said, like, honestly, you're right. Maybe I wasn't aware of like something that I did that upsetted you. So let me like implement certain actions to make me not like do that again.
What are gonna be those certain actions next time? What are you gonna do?
Well, I don't know. Like, if it's something, it really, like, at the time, I don't know. There's like things, if something made him upset, I wouldn't do like that certain thing. Like, if it was like he felt like I should have, for example, if he felt like I shouldn't be friends with someone, like, I would be like, okay, like, you know, like, at the time, I think I was just like, yeah, like, honestly, babe, like, he's just a friend or whatever, like, we're just good friends or whatever, but, you know, he's still insisted that I shouldn't be friends, so I'm like, okay, it's okay. And then at the time I kind of was just like fighting for that. I was just like, it's okay though, and I wasn't understanding of that. Now I look back at it, I'm like, okay, like, I should have like which I did, like, in one point of the relationship I did. But again, like, I still valued my friendship with my guy friend as well as my, because I value all my friendships and relationships with all my friends, like, people in my life. So it was very hard for me to like let go of that friendship as well. But again, like, there's a lot of things I look back into the relationship and I'm like, okay, I should have just been more understanding, and I should have just listened to him more and like implemented actions that followed through.
I change it better.
When I said sorry and
Hold
stuff. Yeah.
Alrighty, we're back. I had to change the what? I had to change the what? I had to change the battery in the camera.
Why do you say it in a Toronto accent?
I had to. Gotta run a battery on these batteries.
Oh my god, no. Stop.
But yeah, you're saying?
Yeah, that's... What would you say, I mean, for your relationship? Is there, like, things that you would say that you want to, like, work on, or things that you noticed about yourself that you wished you kind of did in that time, but now you know, like, to not do it again for your future relationship?
I would talk about it, but I already spoke about it in the last episode, so I don't want to repeat myself. So that's why I'm just curious to get your perspective on everything and just talk about that more. Because I feel like from your perspective and like the shit that you can work on, it's just interesting. Because like I feel like sometimes men and women can view things differently, view problems differently. So that's why I'm curious to see the shit that you went through from a female perspective and to see what you think your solutions are to go forward next time and to improve those future relations. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, anyways.
Next one?
Fuck it.
All right. We could do
the quest for a new question.
Okay, yeah, we could talk about.
Now the card is full, man.
It's just gonna be a long ass podcast.
Yeah, man. Let's go through our podcast.
Yeah, we like covered like basically not all of it, but like we covered most.
Is there anything that you think will bring people more?
I definitely want to talk about the law of attraction. Okay, so like, do you want to start or I should start?
You start.
Okay.
Well, not yet.
Okay, yeah, I'll wait for you.
Alright.
Okay. So the law of attraction.
All right, next
man.
question. Law of attraction, or I don't know if it's a question, it's a statement, but like I know you have some thoughts, so let's hear it.
So for the law of attraction, honestly, like.
Okay, first of all, do you believe in the law of attraction?
Oh, 100%.
Do you think
sorry,
that ties
the
in?
law of vibration. Sorry.
Oh.
I was talking about law of vibration.
Oh.
I was thinking about that.
Anyways, go on.
But again, we can talk about law of attraction after as well. But for the law of vibration, like I totally like I was watching a TikTok on this actually a few months ago, and like I watched it and I was like, wow, like it really opened my eyes because I didn't even see it like that type of perspective. But basically, this guy was just talking about how we all have like different frequencies where like like frequencies of energies, meaning like some people have low energy, some people have high energy, and low energy is usually associated with like depression or like just like completely just like unmotivated and just depressed. But then high energetic people are more like happy and more open and more outgoing and everything, right? And essentially those type of energies like basically have a lot to do with like essentially like what you bring, or like when you meet someone you can like sense their energy, right? So basically I was watching this video where he was just talking about how essentially the law of vibration is essentially like in the universe we have like if you look at like cells or something under a microscope, you see it vibrating, right? Like
Everything is vibrating, yeah.
Everything is moving, right? Same thing goes for energy. Like energy also like it you can't, like goes back to science, energy cannot be created or destroyed, right? It's always there. So like energy, like as in like when you like meet certain people, they have like certain vibrational energies where like if you, for example, if you're always with someone who has a low vibrational energy, who's always depressed, who's always just like unmotivated and always just so down about life, you're eventually going to absorb that energy into you, and then eventually you will start noticing that, wow, like I'm actually like depressed, or I'm actually like sad, or I'm actually like feeling down. Because why? Like you absorbed their energy because you spent so much time with them, and so you kind of like brought their low like vibrational energy onto yours, and then now you kind of just feel down about life, or you just feel so like upset or just sad, or just that same type of energy that they were feeling. And same thing goes for if you have a high energy as well. Like if you're with someone that's always so positive about life, so happy and whatever, like just so like open and everything, you're gonna absorb that energy as well, and then you're gonna feel like very happy and like just more likely to spend more time with that person because you're happy and you just want to like become like that person because you absorb that energy. So I definitely like think that's 100% true, because with the law of vibration and everything, like it's just who you surround yourself with and the energies that people bring to the table. Like that also have to do with like friends and the influences that they bring, right? Like some people again can have bad influences and have bad like low vibrational energy that can bring to the table, and then eventually the whole friend group is just depressed at that point, because it's just it absorbs and it goes around everyone. It's just like literally like, kind of like a virus, to be honest, like a low vibrational energy. But I definitely like believe in it. What do you think?
100%. I mean, it's it's whatever energy you put out the world, that's probably the energy you're going to attract.
Yeah.
So that's for starters. So let's just start with that. So if you're gonna view things in a negative light, if you're gonna move a certain way, you're probably gonna attract other people like that. As they say, misery loves company. And so if you're just um just in a not good state and you're doing bad things, going down the wrong path, you're probably gonna pick up people along the way that are also doing that as well. And
Yeah.
that's you're just gonna fuel the fire to things that are already happening in the sense of like you're just not doing well for yourself, you know. And not only that, but now you can start to affect the other positive people around you, you know. But what might eventually happen is that if you're moving at a lower energy and an energy that's negative compared to the other people that are positive, they're most likely going to cut you off. You are definitely going to lose. It depends how strong they are. If the people that you're surrounded by, let's say there's a negative person and the people around them are like relatively weak, they might conform to that negative person if that negative person is the most dominant one with that's more just more dominant, has the most energy, and is almost kind of like the leader of the pack. Then they're gonna like spread it across everybody. Everybody's gonna start to feel it, right? But if they're equal to value as everybody else in the group, and if everybody else in the group is positive, has good intentions and all this stuff, they're most likely gonna eliminate the person that's vibrating at a lower frequency and energy than they are. Because, you know, coming from a person that's positive, like I wouldn't want to be surrounded by people that are just not vibrating on the same frequency as I am, you know, or just not on my level in the sense of like being positive and that want great things and going on the same path. And so if I don't mess with them like that, like you're gonna be out of my life. And I did that to a couple people, because, you know, 1 minute they're in your friend group, the next minute they're not, because they just don't fit in anymore because they're going down the wrong path, because they're vibrating. They're just moving different, as Trailmans likes to say, or as Trail slang, they're just being a waste man. Like they just don't want the best for anybody, and they're very selfish, you know. And negativity just breeds more negativity. And so, I mean, if you have that type of person in your group, or if you know a person like that, I suggest cutting them off, because it's not going to do you any well, or at least distance yourself from them. If they're one of your best friends, you got to distance yourself, because that's just going to start to rub off on you, and you won't feel good, and you don't need that in your life, especially if you're a positive person. And so definitely do one of two things: cut them off, distance yourself, because you don't need that, and then go find people that are more like you and that will reciprocate that energy. Because when you're around other positive people that want to do great things and are selfless, that's only going to uplift you even more, and you're going to keep on uplifting each other to success and to work your way up the hierarchy, you know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I mean, I really do feel like what you put out to the world is what you get back, and that's why I strive personally to always put out positive energy and good and be optimistic and just provide good vibes, you know. And I feel like everybody should do that, because the world would be a lot better like that, and just keep on putting out more love and just all 9 yards, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, all I can say is like people that are just sad in general, like that have no fulfillment, like it's just not going to go anywhere, and they definitely need help. And I hope they get the help that they need, and hopefully they can start vibrating
At a higher frequency.
yeah, 100%, and just get themselves to a place where they can be happy, you know? Because other than that, they're going to be affecting themselves or the other people around them if they continue being negative, you know?
I also feel like correct me if you have like a different opinion on it, but I also feel like low like frequency people, or like people who have like low energy, they're more attracted to like people who have like high energy, because it's almost like they see like, okay, like you're so happy, and you have such a high frequency, I want that, you know what I mean? So they're gonna like honestly try to be your friend and stuff, right? And like eventually kind of just like you said, like most, you know, like if you're like just at a low frequency and stuff, you kind of just like you're depressed and everything. And of course, like I do hope, like, you know, those people who are at a low frequency get the help that they need, because man, this life is not easy. Like honestly, like if you need help, of course, like there's so many resources out there, you know, like
For sure.
people to talk to, like therapy as well, for sure, you know, like any resource to just help everything, like anything that you're feeling as well, like so many resources out there. But I'm just saying, like I do think like sometimes it really depends, but sometimes low vibrational, like low frequency people tend to go like chill with like high frequency people, just to get like that feeling of that happiness a little bit, you know, to get that energy from those like high like frequent people. You know what I mean? I don't know how to word it properly, but like I'm just trying to say like it's almost like they see that, oh, you have something that I don't have, so like I want that, so I'm gonna like try to hang out with you so I can get that energy. It's like an energy exchange, almost like that. When you're like spending so much time with the person and stuff, and you like have that energy like exchange and stuff, that low vibrational person wants that, like, oh, you're happy, like I want that too, so I'm gonna spend so much time with you so your energy can rub off to me and I can become happier, and then you can slowly get my horrible low frequent energy, and then that person gets like sad and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that's a very subjective thing. I mean, some people do want to
Yeah,
surround
like I
themselves
said,
with
it
more
was
positive people.
just some people, like it's not obviously not all, I'm just saying in just general, like it could happen to some people, it's not like all.
Yeah, because since they don't have it, they want to be around that more, you know?
Yeah, you always
Um,
want what you don't have.
yeah,
So.
and they always want people to feel pity for them and freaking trying to help them and like be there for them 24/7 when it's just like people don't want to do that. People that have their shit together, they don't want to be there for you 24/7, especially if you're depressed and like all this shit, you know? You're gonna have to figure your own shit out because they can't, you know? Because you're gonna start to rub off on them and they don't need that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, that's a very subjective thing. Some people want to be around other positive, like those low frequency people want to be around others that are high frequency, so they can try and get some of that. But it just sometimes it just ends up having the opposite effect where they just spread more negativity, than get more positivity. So like it's just more negatives to the whole situation is what I'm trying to say. But I don't know, like I'm gonna stand by what I originally said, where like I feel like they're more likely to be around more negative people and attract those negative people and just stick in that crowd, more often than like being around people that are positive. They might have positive people, but their main group or whatever is gonna eventually be around low frequency people until they decide to change and become higher value.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah, you had any other thoughts on that?
No, I think we're good.
Do you want to talk about exchanging of energies?
Wait, hold on. We have like a whole topic.
Because I feel like that ties into exchanging of energies too.
Yeah. Yeah, we can talk about it, sure. You open the floor now, because
No, this is on you, yo. This is your topic, bro. This girl loves talking about exchanging energies.
Well, okay. I mean, I like doing. I did like not research, but I was just interested in this. Like,
yeah, she went on the YouTube rabbit hole, which is good. I mean, like it's a cool topic. That's why I want her to open it up.
Like I've watched what's it called? Like what was it? Like videos on like just energy exchange, and of course, like the most times that your energy is exchanged is through sex. So it's just like, you know, like because most people just often view sex as just a physical act, like whatever it is, obviously, but I'm just saying like there's also like a whole realm, like spiritual realm of what happens when you actually like have sex with someone, because you know it's that energy exchange, like whatever their energy like was like, if they're again like with the low vibrational energy, it can rub off to you because you're literally committing the highest form of intimacy with that person, that physical act. And again, this goes back to the conversation we had before about meaningless like hookups and stuff with random people. Like whatever, like if you don't know the person and you like just have a meaningless hookup with them and you have sex with them, like you don't even know what their energy is. You don't even know like if they're depressed. You don't even know like what their energy is, because obviously like in a party and stuff, no one's gonna be like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm depressed or something.
I'm a loser,
right?
you know, like.
Yeah, like no one's gonna say that. So like obviously like if they actually do have some serious mental health issues and stuff that's not like, you know, like taken care of, and they actually just suffer a lot, right? That can also absorb into you when you actually do have sex with them, because it's just again that energy exchange, and whatever your energy you've had is going to rub off onto them. And that's why, like, you know, if you like day or whatever weeks after and stuff, if you tend to notice yourself feeling a little bit more down, or you tend to feel yourself like, oh, like I don't know, I've been crying a lot lately, or I've just been like very depressed or down lately, just think about like, okay, like, and also it's different also if you, even before you met the person, you were kind of like happier, you were more open, you were more outgoing, and then you start noticing like, okay, like why am I actually like feeling more down, or why am I just feeling so like depressed or lately, you know, like what is this feeling? It's that energy exchange as well. And this also goes with the whole topic of soul tie. So soul tie, some people believe in it, some people don't believe in it. It's you know, it's something, you know, people have different beliefs and everything, but I do believe in soul ties as well, where like definitely like soul ties, you're aware of soul ties as well, right?
I've heard I've heard you talk about it briefly, but I want you to expand on it right now.
So like soul ties essentially like when you have like sex with someone, like soul ties essentially that, again, with the energy exchange as well, like the soul tie like you have with that person, like it's more like you won't like forget that person easily because you've like, again, you've committed the highest form of love, right? Like literally the most highest act. Like there's nothing more vulnerable than sex. Like you're literally naked with the person. There's nothing more than that. Like you're literally like sharing that like vulnerable side of yourself to that person. So you're committing that, and you're like doing soul ties as well because your energy exchange and
The
everything.
soul ties happen with like with anybody you have sex with, or is that like a per basin basis? Because that like
I think soul ties, like specifically about that's a good question. Soul ties, I think like it can happen with like certain types of people, but like again with sex, like it's energy exchange, right? So I'm pretty sure it can happen with like anyone, but soul ties, it happens like with like that. I'm not really sure about, but I've done like the people that I've watched, they've always just said like, yeah, you create a soul tie after sex. So I'm assuming that it's everyone, but I'm not entirely sure what the like that is. But I'm just saying like when you actually like, you know, have sex with someone and then the energy exchange and everything, you're creating a soul tie. Then you find like years later, like you can't forget that person. Like that person's always gonna be like in the back of your mind almost because you've like, you know,
what if you do them?
You've had, huh?
What if you do them?
About what?
What if they're just erased from your existence?
I mean, yeah, sure, you can completely do that. I mean, I don't know. Honestly, about that, I'm not sure. But I'm just saying, like, you can't even control it because it's just, like, that spiritual act. Like, that, what had happened, you can't control it, right? And again, it's, people believe in it, people don't believe in it. But it's just, I 100% believe in it because, like, I mean, it makes sense, like, with, like, that, like... You know, and it's kind of scary too because it's like I've also like done research where like people like said like on YouTube, like when you know you have sex with someone and then the energy exchange, of course, but like their like past people's energy of who they dealt with in the past, who they've had sex with before in the past, their energies also come onto you. And then same with like whoever you had sex in the past and whatever, all those energies come onto you. And then like, you know, all those energies is just a whole like pile of energy exchange. And again, like I'm not like completely sure. Question. Like I've not done like complete research on that, like specifically of how it's like coupled of like, you know, multiple energies all at once. But definitely like it essentially just it makes sense because, you know, it's like you're committing that like highest form and with like other people as well. So you're like giving your energy to someone, they're giving your energy. And essentially kind of, you can think about it all, you know, we're all connected in a way. You know, all of us are just connected in a way. So like when you have like sex with someone, like connected, and then that person has sex with someone else, it's like a domino effect. And then again, the energies are exchanged from person to person to person. That makes us all connected.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know if you're gonna have the answer to this question, but I'm gonna ask you to you anyways. When it comes to gaining someone's past energies, like, because you said like all the people they've had sex with and like it might come onto you, what if like that person's current self is super positive,
like,
and they're just positive, optimistic, and like it's almost like any of their past negative energies don't prevail,
like it overpowers those energies?
Is that possible?
I'm not sure about that. That's a
Fair
really
enough.
good question though.
Fair
But
enough.
for sure, like I definitely think like that's a really good question because that makes sense, right? Because
Right.
again, a high vibrational energy could overpower all the negative ones, right? You don't know.
I think that's what it is, low-key.
But that could be.
I feel like that would make
makes
sense because if you're good now, if you've dug yourself out of a hole,
Yeah.
then it's almost like, because I always feel like love and positivity is stronger than negativity, and so I feel like once you get to that place of the higher vibration, it just overrides everything.
Yeah.
And so if you're in that state where you're confident, independent, love yourself, positive, optimistic, giving back, all this shit, then definitely when you have sex with someone who's also vibrating at the same frequency, it just builds it up even more. You know what I'm saying? And you can reach new heights that way.
And like, sorry to interrupt. I was just saying like, also like when after you like if it's just all physical, like if it's all physical, like you have that physical attraction, right? But after like sex and stuff, like you're kind of just like, okay, like, because if you actually had an emotional connection with the person, you could like cuddle, you could talk about life, you can, like, you have that emotional connection. But if it's all physical and it's just like, all right, like, we just had sex, all right, bye, like, peace, I'll never see you again. You know what I mean? Like those type, I don't know, like, some people may just be like, oh yeah, it's just like, it's fun, whatever, like, it's just a one-time thing, it's just for fun. I don't know, I look at it and I'm just like, I don't know, personally for me, like, I would like to, like, after doing that, like, I would like to talk to my partner, like, like, talk about life. We're really on a floating rock, like, have, like, conversations just about life and stuff, cuddle, just, like, emotionally invested too. And I feel like when you're emotionally invested, it makes the sex even better because, like, you have all different,
there's
like,
another
types of
element to it.
Yeah, it's a different element, and you have literally all types of connection that you're attracted to the person, like, you're attracted emotionally, you're attracted physically, and you're attracted spiritually. So it's just like it makes and that essentially also makes it such a good relationship because you actually see them in the long term too.
Yeah
Yeah,
and all that just combines together.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That was good. Is there anything else on exchanging energies?
I feel like we've talked about it so much that's just like now I just can't think of like, because like we always like talk about like the exchange of energies and stuff, and then we go on to like more and more and more.
I think we did a good job like explaining. Or you did a good job at explaining just soul ties and exchanging energies to begin with.
I definitely want to do more research on it because it's a very like interesting topic and stuff, and I want to learn more about it.
Next time you're on, if you have more information.
Yeah, for sure. Like it's again like it was like late at night. I was just searching on YouTube. Like,
I know those ones.
Like I was just searching energy exchange. It's a very interesting. I'm gonna watch like 10 minutes of this.
Of course.
And then that
next,
was
2 hours later.
Yeah, like 5 a.m. type of thing, but. Again, like that's my input. Like people can have different opinions on it. Of course, like everyone has different opinions, but personally, like that's what I kind of think and my intake on it. And like, again, people have different beliefs and stuff. And like, yeah, for sure.
Do you think and this will probably tie into another question, so I'm gonna transition it smoothly right now. Do you think your personal opinion? Do you think body counts matter and how many bodies you have?
My personal opinion, I do think body count matters. But like, again, with our society, like, it's like, I've seen TikTok comments and people are like, yeah, like 3 is the safe answer. And I'm like, also like people lie about their body count. Like now, you know what I mean? But
who do you think lies more, men or women?
Honestly, I think both. Definitely both.
If you were to pick one though.
But I would say men.
You think so?
Yeah. But I don't know. Like, see, here's the thing. Like, men usually, like, or this is what I don't understand. Like, I've seen, like, videos and stuff of, like, guys, like, saying, like, all their, like, the higher their body count is, the more, like, validation they get from their guy friends, right? Like, that's okay, I could be wrong, but I'm just saying, like when they like go to their guy friends or whatever, they're just like, yeah, like, yo, like I have like this many amount of bodies and stuff. It's just that validation thing. But for us girls, it's almost like if we say if we have like whatever, like I don't know, some girls can have like a lot of bodies and whatever, they're looked at as a hoe. But then if a guy has a lot of bodies, he's not looked at, like he's looked at normal.
Why do you think that's
the double standard, right? Because it's just kind of like, I don't know, like if like from a guy, I don't know, like I'm not a guy, but like I'm just saying, like from y'all's perspective, like if a girl tells you like she's had like this many bodies or whatever, the guy could be like, okay, well, like I don't like you're a hoe, like you're a whore or whatever, like I don't want to be with you anymore, right? But then if the guy also has the same amount of bodies or like more bodies than the girl, he might lie and be like, yeah, I just only have like a few or whatever, and she's gonna be like, okay, cool, like but I'm just saying, like, look at that double standard. Like if a girl sleeps with so many guys, like she's looked at as a hoe, but if a guy sleeps with so many girls, he's just like, it's just like, okay, like that's how society. Why do you think that is? Honestly, I'm not really sure. You
don't have like your own like theories.
Well, I mean, going back to what I said, like with the guys, like validation from their friends too, like they seek validation. They're like, yo, like I, like whatever, I hooked up with so many girls, like this girl.
Do you have any thoughts as to why that is? Like why it's like a?
I think it's just like
a form of validation.
Like an ego boost, of course, like to just be like, yo, like I got this. It's okay. I don't even want to say it like this, but like it's low-key kind of like like think of it like a prize or something, like winning a prize.
Like a game.
Yeah, like a game, and it's just like, oh, like who has the highest type of thing, you know? And honestly, this could happen in girl circles too. Like I don't know, this could happen. I'm not sure, but entirely like mostly like for guys, it's just kind of like seeking their friends' validation and being like, yo, I slept with this many other girls or whatever, and like the other guy's just like, yeah, but I slept with this many other girls and stuff. It's like that seeking their validation. But then for girls, if we say like a higher body count, we're just looked at as a whore. But then if we actually do have a low like normal body, which I don't even know what's a normal, like
That's subjective.
Yeah, because it depends on who you are. But subjective. I'm just saying like if a girl was just to say her body count, like it's just, you know, like she's just looked at like I don't know.
So do you think it would be shallow if a guy didn't pursue a relationship with a girl if he didn't like that she had a higher body count?
Like, what do you mean? Sorry, can you expand on that?
Let's say a guy meets a girl.
Okay.
They're talking. He finds out that she has a high body count. Would it be shallow of him to be like, I don't want to get into a relationship with you anymore?
No. I don't think it would be shallow. But same thing goes for the guy as well.
No, of course.
Like, it goes both ways, of course. But I'm just saying, again, it also has to do with the preference. If the person doesn't care about body count, then, then they can go for that relationship. But I don't think it's shallow for the person to just be like, okay, because you have so much, like, you have a higher body count, then, like, you know, like, I don't, like, want to deal with you anymore. That's their opinion, and, like, if they don't want to be with the person, then they don't want to be with the person, you know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, it's that stigma, again, of, like, was the higher body count and everything, and their opinion on you and everything. So that's why I think a lot of people lie about their body count, just to like, you know, be like, yeah, I'm not a hoe, or you know what I mean, like that type of thing that society has just kind of like played.
Is there ever a situation where it's okay to lie about your body count, in your opinion?
Honestly, I don't know. Like I don't even know how to, like, I don't know like the answer to that question, because like I don't know, like like in a situation where you have to lie about your body count, I honestly think like if you're whoever you're gonna meet, like if you genuinely see them long term, I think you should just be honest with them and just tell them like, okay, like your body count, you know, and if they really want to be with you, then they would be with you. Like if not, then okay, like you have another, like you're gonna meet someone obviously who's gonna be accepting for like whatever. But I'm just saying, like, personally, like I don't think there's a need to lie about your body count. Like again, people have different opinions on it too. Like, if you have a higher body count, some people will be like, okay, that's fine, or whatever. Some people could be like, no, I can't. It's a deal breaker, right? It all depends on the person. And again, that's my opinion. I could be completely wrong to some people, but
no, everyone's entitled to their opinion. I was just curious to see what you think. You know,
yeah.
Some people link body counts to purity. What are your thoughts on that? Some people are like, yo, the less body counts. This is some people's opinions. Like, oh, the less body counts someone has, the more pure they are. What are your thoughts on that whole concept? Or that whole way of thinking about body counts?
Well, see, yeah, like it's that, again, you know how like society has like said like, oh, if you sleep with multiple people, you're looked as a hoe, and then if you like not slept with much people, you're kind of looked as innocent or whatever, right? Honestly, for that, like, I don't know, like I haven't thought about it like in that aspect of like innocence or something like that, but it's just I've looked at it in a way it's just like, I don't know, like if you really want to be with the person, like I think you should just be honest with like your body count and just say like, yo, like I slept with how many or whatever, like amount of people, like how about you? And then the other person says that, and like if you really want to be with the person, then just be fucking honest, like, you know, like if you're gonna be long term with the person, just might as well be honest with them and just tell them the truth. There's no need to like lie or just like just, you know, try to put on like a thing. But I know a lot of people do that just because like they don't want to like have the other person create like an opinion of you or something. So again, with that whole innocence thing, I'm not sure. Like, how would you say, like, what do you think about it?
I don't know. I was just curious to get your opinion, because from a female's perspective, because that is different from our perspective, I don't really have any thoughts on linking body counts to purity.
Yeah, it's like you already had sex. Like, I don't know what... like, the purity thing, like, I don't know about that, but, like, it's... I don't know, like... Some people have different opinions on it, you know, because, like, the lesser, but...
So, we may have touched upon this, like, off air, but do you ever think that a person's body count can possibly determine the outcome of your relationship with them. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Because then, but you know what? Do you know what I mean?
Like, are you talking about like how if let's
Like,
just say
it could give you like a sign of like what might happen to you. Because if they have a lot of body counts, do you ever think that you're just gonna end up as one of those
okay,
bodies? Like
but
as a
here's the thing:
statistic.
if that person, let's just say that person has had like what a fair amount of bodies or whatever, but let's just say like you know how people change, right? People can change, people can become better people, become better versions of themselves. If they've like said like yeah, I've slept with how many of whatever like I'm a certain amount of people in the past, but I've changed like and I want to like you know like have a committed relationship with someone, and you actually see them like and you see their seriousness in that relationship, then you're gonna be like okay, like this person's serious, so I'm not gonna take their past and their baggage and bring it on. If they're changed and they claim to be their changed and their actions follow with their words, then I don't think like their past should determine their present or their future. Same thing goes for like again both sexes, right? Both female and male, like you know like if they had like past amount of bodies or whatever, let's just say like for example you know in the 20s like our generation is just crazy hookup culture and everything, like let's just say a certain amount of people have you know a certain amount of bodies and everything, but then let's just say they reach a mature age like 24 25 26 like around mid-20s and stuff, and they're like okay you know what, I want a stable solid relationship where I can trust someone and I just want to like be with a person and then marry them and then you know like have a nice life together. But like again when you meet that person and stuff and you're like okay I think they're the one, and then that question comes up like oh like what's your body count and stuff, right? And then you actually do want to be honest and you tell the person my body count was whatever this certain amount of people, and you're honest with them because you know you want to be honest with your partner and everything, then that person, I think that person should like the other person who's like receiving that and whatever, I think that person should really like not dictate like not take whatever in the past like their history and stuff and put in the present if they've already shown like changed actions and their seriousness to the relationship. Because again like that's like anything, like if someone has been like traumatized or someone like has been I don't know like has so much trauma and baggage from the past, right? And you know that like you've seen that person has baggage and insecurities and you've seen that, but like if you've seen them changed and you've seen them like as a better person, you've seen them grow as a person, you've seen changed like actions and stuff, then I think you should literally just give the person a chance and like not allow their past like determine their present because everyone changes, you know?
Fair enough.
Like for sure, like for me, like for example, in my situation where I told about, you know, I wish I was better communicating with my ex and better like understanding and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like for my future man, like I hope like again with my like now I you know I want to be changed, I want to be a better person, right? I honestly hope that my future man like accepts me for my changed self and better version rather than bring up my past and say like okay that's the past is you now.
Right.
And I don't ever want to be in that position ever. And I don't think anyone should be in that position where you always say like, oh, yeah, because you did that in the past, you're going to do that now.
Right.
Again, it's changed actions, you know? Like if the person shows change and you actually see potential and you're like, okay, this is the person I want to be with and this is the person I want to end up with and they are serious about having a committed relationship and they're going to be loyal, then I'm going to go for it. And I'm not going to dictate. I'm not going to let their past dictate who they are.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
This is a personal question, but would you want a guy that has a, like, would you care if he had like a higher or lower body count? Or are you looking for someone with like a lower body count? Like,
honestly, like,
what's part of your standards when it comes to someone's body count?
Well,
what would you prefer?
Honestly, like for, again, with going with what I said, like whoever I meet, like whatever in the future when it happens, like I'm not, if he does have a high body count, I'm not gonna like judge him for like that, like, you know, I'm not gonna judge his like high body count from the past, and I do see changed actions and stuff, and he's like a good person and everything.
Yeah, what if he's a good guy up front?
Yeah, then I wouldn't let the past like.
So you wouldn't care even if he had like 15, 20 bodies?
No.
Okay.
But like if he had
but you have no preference?
Again, like if no, I don't have a preference, but again, like as I said, like if he's a douchebag and he has like so many bodies and stuff, and he just
well, we're not gonna be talking about he's a douchebag.
But I'm just saying, like if like already off the bat he has like a high body count and everything, and I already see like his like intentions and everything, then I'm gonna be like, all right, bye, like whatever, I don't want to deal with you. Yeah. But if he tells me he has a high body count from the past, and he's like, yo, like I want an actual serious relationship with you, and I hope like you know you don't like let my past like dictate my present self or whatever, then like I want you to give me a chance, and I want you to know like I'm serious about this relationship, then I'll give him a chance, of course.
Yeah.
Because again, like I'm not gonna judge his past, but like if he's a freaking douchebag and like he has like a high body count, I'm just like, yeah, no. I'm sorry, I don't want
So
to
you
waste
don't
my
really care.
time.
So you don't prefer like if a guy had a lower body count or a higher body
No,
count.
I don't really.
You just don't gravitate towards one or the
No.
other.
What
Fair
about
enough.
you?
Not at all. I'd rather have a girl that has a lower body count.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. I just don't want a girl that's been sleeping around like that.
True, yeah.
That's just me personally. Some of the guys.
But then here's the question: what if you meet like the one, and like she's like literally everything you wanted and everything in a girl, and the only catch is, you ask her, like sorry, excuse me.
You're good. Watch out for
You ask her what's it called? You ask her like what's your body count, and she says like a high number. What would you say? And she's like the perfect girl, like your ideal girl.
See, this is the thing. I kind of have a weird feeling that my perfect girl wouldn't have a high body count.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, and I'm not saying for everybody, but I feel like with a certain body count, there comes certain traits and personality things.
Like what?
And because for me, like I'd want a girl that's more reserved.
Okay.
Kind of like the way I am.
Mm-hmm.
A girl that's not necessarily putting herself out there, attracting attention from so many different guys and wanting to hook up with a bunch of different people, and just kind of like she's independent and happy and like kind of working towards her own shit, kind of almost like literally the way I am, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like if she's kind of focused on the things that I'm focused on, she's gonna naturally have a lower body count.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know, I kind of have a weird feeling that the one that I end up like marrying or getting with won't have a high body count. That's
interesting because like again, everyone has their own like intake of what a low or a high body count is. That's right? True. Because again, like some people, that number is subjective. Yeah, some people can be like, oh, like this number is actually high or this number is low. But like I agree with what you said. I do like I honestly, like for me, again, like it's all very subjective. It depends on what number or whatever, but I do hope that, you know, like if I were to meet the one or whatever, like if he does have a high body count, of course, and he like, you know, proves himself like as like, you know, a good person or whatever, and like he wants a serious relationship and everything, then I'll take him for that. But like I said before, like if it's just a high body count and if it's just me as another number, then nah, like fuck that. I'm not doing that. But again, like you said, I would like prefer like a low, you know, a low body count, because of course, like who wants to be with the high body count? But I'm just saying also, like those people who do have like a high body count can also change and like become better. So that's what I'm saying. It's just not a deal breaker for you. Yeah, so I'm just saying in that like point of view, I'll give the person a chance. But again, it just all depends on the intentions and like what they like. It just all depends on their intentions and like, you know, if they actually are serious about what they say and like they're serious about their actions and stuff, then I'll be like, okay, I'll give you a chance. But if you're like, nah, like you're just sleeping around, if I'm just gonna be another number, nah, I'm good. Go on to the next girl. Yeah, like I'm not. You don't want to be next in line. Yeah, definitely no. I get that. I'll get out of the line. Yeah, that too. Next, to kind of wrap up this whole thing, why do you think society almost looks at women as hoes if they have multiple bodies, and for guys it's almost like celebrated? Honestly, that's a very good question. I think, like, other than the validation facts with, like, you know, guys and their friends and stuff, I think, like, again, this is my opinion. I could be wrong. That's cool. Yeah, no, I'm just curious. Like, I think, like, when you think back in the olden days and stuff, right, you think of prostitutes. Like, most of them are, like, women. And you think, you know, like, they sleep around and everything. And they've kind of, like, earned that title of, like, just sleeping around and stuff. So they've kind of earned, like, oh, like, you sleep around with, like, so you're just, like, a hoe, like, whatever, right? And that kind of has, like, just propelled against all the generations and stuff, right? And then now, like, when you, for example, if you, like, meet a girl or whatever and she has a higher body count, it's obviously not looked at as prostitution or something. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking from, like, past then, because of that like, the way of, like, you know, how, like, prostitution, like, women used to, like, sleep around for, obviously, money and everything. But I'm just saying, because of that, like, title or whatever, like, it kind of has, like, moved down to our generation where, like, it could be just a normal girl with a high body count. And she's looked at as a hoe because of, you know, sleeping around. But then again, I don't know, like, the specific, like, why it's like that. Like, if a woman, like, sleeps with a bunch of guys, she's looked at as a hoe. But, like, if a guy sleeps with a bunch of girls, like, he's looked as, like, fine or whatever, right? So, okay, so I'm glad you answered, like, the girl side of things. So why do you think it's celebrated for guys? again, I think it's just like the validation part and like just looking better. Like it's kind of just like that validation you get from your guy friends. Oh, like yo, like
Why is
you
it
know,
society?
like
Because I know like we were
yeah.
mentioning society, so it's like why do you think society views it like that as well? Because obviously you said right now for girls you gave your explanation, but now like why is it for guys that they're celebrated?
Again, like it's I don't know. I feel like it's sad to say this. Like I don't want to say this, but it's just kind of like a prize, right? Like winning a prize or whatever, and like I don't know, like it's just kind of like even back then if you look at like the whole like prostitution thing, right? For those guys who are doing those acts with those women and everything, like they're like, oh, like yo, I slept with her, it kind of like grew from that and then like stemmed down to generation. Again, I could be completely wrong, it's just my personal opinion, but it's just like that's what I think personally, why like, you know, guys have that gratification or whatever, and that like validation from their guy friends of like how much their body count is and stuff. But I definitely think like that's so true, like how, you know, like guys just kind of like your higher body count, you know, like the more experience you have and the more whatever. But like it's kind of like I don't know, like I feel like it should have been just be the same. Like if a guy sleeps with a bunch of like women, he's also should be considered a hoe. If a girl sleeps with a bunch of guys, she's a hoe. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's both. It's not like one like, you know, side of things and stuff. I don't know. I just feel like there's so many like double standards in our society.
Fair enough.
That's just like yeah.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. Again, it has to do with like
No, like double standard. Like we'll move on from that, from the topic of like how society views people in multiple bodies, but like what are some of the reasons why you think our society is double standard when it comes to men and women?
I think all it stemmed from like back then, like when, you know, inequality and stuff, like when women were treated like literally shit and like just secondary people to the society, right? So they're already looked down upon. So I think like from that it stemmed all the way generations to generations that kind of just like down look upon the women and stuff. So even though like in 2021 we did reach like obviously it's still sad what's happening in Afghanistan and stuff right now, like it's sad because it's 2021 and stuff, and like, you know, like many of the years like we've had like women empowerment and everything, but still there's still that like stigma of like, you know, it's still looked down, not like completely, like it's not like as worse as back then where they're just completely considered as like secondary people of society, but I'm just saying like I think it all stemmed from that like reason to why like the double standards started occurring. But then also, yeah, there's also double standards for, you know, like men as well, you know, like certain women can do things, and you know those double standards can happen for both, like it's not just like for men especially. Yeah.
Do you think we live in a sexist society?
Yeah, definitely. Like it depends on like what topic you're talking about, but yeah, we definitely live in a sexist society.
In your mind, like what are some of the sexist things?
Like, for example, I was talking to my nursing friends about this, right? So, like, normally, like, yeah, again, the stigma of nursing, it's just more, like, female type of program, right?
Do you think it is?
I think for both, like, genders, definitely think, like men can do nursing as well. Like, it's not just for females. But, like, again, like, that whole stigma for, like, you know, nursing is for females. It's just, like, that's how like people think of nursing and everything, right? And I was having this discussion with my nursing friends, but I definitely think,
why do you think
like,
it's thought that way?
I don't know, just
like,
because like back then, again, like it all has to do with like back then, like years or in the 1900s or whatever, like in during war and stuff, most of the nurses were females. So that's why I think like back then nursing is just looked at, okay, like it's just a female doing the, you know, as a nurse. But I definitely think over the years, slowly, like, you know, men started coming to nursing and stuff. So that's why we both have a good balance. And I think it's fantastic that, you know, both like genders are in like this like program, because, you know, it's great like having a balance as well. Even like for construction too, like construction, like, you know, you think it's more like a male dominated type of like it's not country career, right? And, you know,
you're talking about nowadays, correct?
Pardon?
You're talking about nowadays, correct?
Yeah, nowadays. And then over the years, like females started, you know, like my like coworker, she's in construction, and she tells me how she loves it and stuff. And she told me like it's mostly like men who
Tough
works.
job, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like complete respect for them, complete respect. But like she told me like is it just more like a male dominated type of job and everything, but she loves it. And I'm so happy. Like good for her, you know what I mean? Like it's amazing seeing like these type of careers where like both like genders can go into, you know. It's that stigma of like, oh yeah, like nursing is all for females. No, like I'm glad that over the years like it gave a chance for both like genders to like enter. And like yeah, because if someone's really passionate about something, it shouldn't be like that stigma of like, oh, like it's only for this certain type of gender. No, like it should be for everyone. It is a career, you know. So
in your opinion, do you think there's any particular reason as to why these industries are still male populated and the other one's still female populated for the most part? Because we can agree that like construction is still mainly
yeah,
populated by men, and the nursing mainly populated by women. And it was definitely like that back then, and it's still like that now. And so like, what do you think are some of the even with all of the stuff about equality coming out and all this stuff, why do you think it's still like that?
I think there are also like, I also think it's many like, for example, for nursing, like in my program, we've only had like, I don't know, in my program, my entire like program, there's only like 3 or 4 guys, and the rest all is just females, right? And basically like the rest all is females, so that's like my program like for nursing and everything. But like I also think like there are many like for okay, if we're talking about nursing in general, I feel like there's many guys out there who may actually have an interest in nursing, but they don't know if they want to do it yet, or they don't know like if, for example, if they do have traditional parents and their traditional parents, you know, convince them to go to another job or whatever career, right. And they're just like, okay, like I want to go into nursing, but I don't know if I should go into nursing itself because it's a female dominated like career. But again, like I think it's that fear too that like a lot of people have, even for construction as well. I'm sure many women are like scared to do construction because they're just like, okay, like some more male dominated type of job. Like it's that type of like, you know, stigma around it. So I think it's the fear factor that many people have when it comes to like picking these type of careers. And of course I 100% like respect for, you know, like for those who just have like passion of just going for like anything they want to do, like 100% respect for them, because it's like you're going after a career that like is mostly populated with the opposite sex. But hey, like, you know what, like if it's truly your passion, go for it, you know, like don't let anyone stop you, just go for it. So complete respect for them.
Yeah, pauses. Any. Okay. Let's finish this shit. All right. Alrighty, yo, we're back again. Literally, I maxed out both my cards this time, which is kind of fucked to think about. Because, like, honestly, I swear to you, I've actually never maxed out both those cards. I've maxed out the one, like, I have a 128 gigabyte card, and then I have a 64 gigabyte card. And I was surprised. I mean, well, I guess when you go for more than 3 hours, like, you're going to max out both cards. And that's what happens. What are you going to do about it? But, I mean, we're killing the podcast. Everything's amazing. Amazing talks as per usual. And yeah, I think that's that. Guys, we were going to wrap it up now because we're definitely over the 3 hour mark at this point. If we're not over 3 hours, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot. But
why
I think,
the foot?
I don't know. Fuck. So you just got to say something sometimes, you know? Yeah. But yo, any last comments or anything? Or like,
no,
I don't know if
honestly,
you're wrapping up or like any last remarks.
No, I think we covered.
You want to do a little outro yourself?
Thank you. I mean, thank you for having me.
Of course, you're welcome.
But,
what the hell?
I had fun talking about it, everything as well. Like,
well, I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate everyone that comes on. I mean, like, it's always amazing when Omar comes on. And I'm finally glad that I can have like another perspective on different things. You coming on, and hopefully I can get more people on the show. And so, guys, stay tuned. Like, it's not only gonna be like them two on the show. You know, I'm gonna have more people.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is a pleasure when I can have other people coming on the show like yourself. You know, guys, don't worry. Omar and I are going to be back. Omar and I are going to be back next Tuesday with another episode. Don't worry. You'll see him again. But, you know, we got to change things up. We got to spice it up. And so it's nice to get females on the show. Hopefully I get another female on the show.
That'll be cool.
There's this one other guy I work with. Her name's Alona. She's one of my best friends. And I'll see if I can get her on as well because she expressed interest in doing it. So I think that would be cool. Very interesting, actually. And so, yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm going to wrap it up there. I truly appreciate every single one of you guys that always tunes in, either in the TikTok live right now, or that is watching the whole thing, or that even watched a little bit of it, because it really does mean a lot. If you guys made it this far in the video, please hit that thumbs up button, because it actually does help out the video. Comment something down below, and definitely subscribe, because when you subscribe and turn that notification, what the hell? Turn that notification bell on, you guys will be notified when the next podcast comes out. So definitely go do that. Definitely share it, because, you know, we're definitely providing a lot of value here. I think these are always amazing talks, and I try my best to make sure we talk about deep things, you know. And so if you guys enjoyed it, as I said, do all of that. My socials will probably pop up on screen now, so you'll probably see it literally somewhere in between us. If you guys want to find her socials, it will also be linked somewhere down in the description, so go check all the links down below. Other than that, I think that is it. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys, and I'll definitely see you guys next Tuesday. Anything else?
All good. Nothing. I think we covered everything.
Easy, y'all.
Peace.
Blast.